Um, Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are good today. All right, so we had a lot of stuff happen overnight. Specifically, Caterpillar just released numbers, and the numbers were good for Caterpillar. The question is Burry underwater? I still think he's actually technically green in Caterpillar this morning, but we've had back and forth news regarding Iran. Oil spiked earlier this morning, and you can kind of see this here. It's spiked up. It's starting to dump down because we're getting stuff across the tape from Qatar, specifically saying that they did say until now we cannot say that the U.S. and Iran deal has been reached. But we got news earlier on the day that they did say that there was a potential deal that was circulating between the two parties. They said there is currently no set agenda for direct U.S. talks, nothing in the books when it comes to U.S.-Iran direct talks. But they did talk about a resolution passing through. They said focus right now is on a short-term resolution. A draft on a possible pact is circulating between the parties, is what they said. And this is all making oil come down here. You can see oil is now under $80 a barrel as of now. Still falling, but yeah, Caterpillar did release numbers yesterday. Obviously, the bigger story is Palantir. But you can see Caterpillar is up to 907s this morning. Here's Palantir. It's up to 143s. A very good earnings report for Palantir. They killed it with their earnings. Posted better than expected. We had some good quotes from Carp as well, but they described it as the otherworldly quarter. Plus, they raised guidance. Caterpillar did super well as well. Amazon hit 3 trillion in milestones, and the Dow had a record close yesterday. But yeah, markets are moving today. We do have the Jolts job report later on today. We have SpaceX's first earnings report. We have AMD earnings later as well, which will be a big chip test. But right now, yeah, we have talks are underway, but they're still denying. The president spoke, I believe it was last night, and said it was the last chance for them to secure a favorable deal. A little bit escalating, but again, we're getting kind of quotes across the tape this morning that say that they're denying it. And so again, this is kind of the playbook. This is kind of what we see. But Palantir is up a huge amount, 143, 16% gains in pre-market up to 145s. It's at 143s now. They posted 41 cent EPS versus 35 cents expected. Raised quarter 3 revenue guidance. Quarter 2 revenue came in higher than expected as well. For fiscal year, they raised guidance as well from 815 to 816 billion, from 7.65 to 7.66. U.S. government commercial revenue is up 90%. And the key Carp quote from all of this is that sovereign AI is winning, he says. So again, the question is, how much is Burry underwater in this? I know Burry shorted Palantir previously. It's up 16% today. I know he shorted Caterpillar previously. It's up to 900 plus today. I don't think he's underwater in Caterpillar, though. I have to look at where he shorted this thing. Let me look that up now, but I don't think he's underwater in some of these just yet. Yeah, let me say hello to the chat. What's up, Mike, Max, Snipes, Nathan, Bull, Pew, J Violet, Scotty, Andrew, Max, Just Ain't Right, Vegas, Smack, Scottish, Scotty, Steve, Abdu, Frank, Cyberghost, Yellowfin, Pew, Ox, BH, Ran, Steve, what's up, dude? Darkage, Josh, DJ, I think I said J Violet already. Jonathan, Alyssa, Pew, UE, Lucas, Neon, Shake and Bake, Matthew, Good News, MD, Want to Be a Trader, Edson, Old Hack, Steve, I think I said Steve, Womble, Ava, Neverlands, and SpaceX. What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. The Real. What's up, dude? Foz, Dinah, Sutter Kane, Trapo, Edwint, Cho, Christian, Clayton, Joha. What's up, guys? Good morning. Rooftop. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, so it's looking like on his July 25th Substack disclosure round 1, he added to his NVIDIA short at 210s, shorted Micron at 930s, added to his SOC short at 535s, which is a semi-ETF. He did initiate a new short on Caterpillar. He's still shorting, I think, Tesla, Palantir, and the Q from the previous one. On July 30th, apparently Burry added more NVIDIA puts. December 18th expiration in the low 100 strike range. He increased his MU short at 880s, which is almost flat now. He's still agreed on it at 860s, but he added the socks at 506. It's at 520s. He added to his QQQ short. It's at 700s, but it's got like a 506 strike price. He did get into DraftKings and some other betting stocks as well, but again, Caterpillar killed it with their earnings as well. Caterpillar up to 906. Oh, you know Palantir hurt him, yeah, for sure, Max. Cypher cooked. Silver is bullish. What's up, Knights? What's up, Michelle? What's up, DZ? Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. But yeah, oil's volatile. Oil's still over 80s technically right now. It's exactly at $80 if you look at WTI crude. So it's right at that $80 level. The previous closing price is also right here for oil. So this might be a level that people are watching, this light blue line. It's the previous closing price. It's just around $80. But we have now dipped under 80 now. We're at 79.93 just as I'm talking here. So oil is coming back down on rumors circulating about a potential deal. Again, Qatar has come out saying that there is a draft on possible pact with the U.S. circulating between parties. They said the focus right now is on short-term resolution. It would help go back to U.S.-Iran talks, but nothing is in the book specifically. Again, Caterpillar did post numbers here. And look at oil dip. Look at oil fall. Caterpillar did post numbers. Here's Caterpillar right here. They posted adjusted EPS of 8.17s. They expected 6.17s. Revenue of 20.5. They expected 19. Order backlog increased 34.6 billion in quarter two. Increased 9.4 billion in quarter two versus quarter one. So Caterpillar killed it with their earnings. They're over 900s today. But again, a lot of the news moving oil is that Qatar says efforts are ongoing for U.S.-Iran resolution and that there's a draft on a possible pact circulating between the parties and that essentially language has been drafted on possible U.S.-Iran deal. So again, both sides are confirming that there is some type of pact going through. Tesla China deliveries just showed up at 93,579 units, up almost 38% in PCM prelim data. And again, we do have Jolts later on today. That's the big story. We have AMD earnings after the close. We have SpaceX earnings, the first time we're going to see them. I'm showing SpaceX earnings aren't coming out until 6 o'clock tonight. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. We did have McDonald's post earnings as well. McDonald's ended up posting 338 versus 332 expected. Revenue miss, though, for McDonald's. It came in at 7.1 billion versus 7.14 expected. And McDonald's is actually up a little bit, although it did drop a lot yesterday. Again, they said the Dow broke highs yesterday, and you can see the Dow just ripping up on software and stuff like this. Like, look at the Dow go up today. Probably Caterpillar has a lot to do with this, and McDonald's, but the Dow is up. But if we look at oil, man, oil's technically red on the day now. It's under $80 a barrel again. Caterpillar up to 901s. And the NASDAQ is sitting at 29,000 plus here. So a great day yesterday. Chips rebounded heavily here. Here's MU. Here's SanDisk. SanDisk back up to 1300s. MU back over 850s. Here's SK Hynix. SK Hynix at 148s this morning. So SK Hynix bouncing back. Memory names bouncing back by big margins yesterday. And they kind of needed it because they've been kind of scary. We are the boomers. The Dow will forever love boomers. Never sell. Yeah, 6 p.m. is what I'm showing for SpaceX earnings tonight. AMD is supposed to release at 4:15. SpaceX releasing an hour and 45 minutes later. They're expected to lose 26 cents a share EPS on 6.72 billion. We also have Open Door releasing at 4:05. Astera Labs releasing at 4:05. AMD is supposed to be at 4:15. But we'll see what happens here with those earnings. What happened? Suddenly not scared after a day? Scared in what? It depends. I mean, memory bounced back a heavy amount. The Kospi index also didn't really drop overnight. The Kospi index was essentially flat. And this has followed a streak of volatility on it. It went up 18% on Friday. it's basically flat overnight, which is a good sign, I think. Like, it's a good sign. We didn't really have some big catastrophic drop in the Kospi index like people were worried about. So, and we do have the Jolts job report later on today at 10 a.m. So, Jolts later on. The S&P 500, here's the SPY. It's sitting at almost 760s this morning. Here's Google. Google at 360s. Apple down a little bit on the day at 300s. I think it's still probably cheap here long term, but it's been breaking all-time highs as well. AMD releases, it's at 409.50s this morning. And SpaceX also bounced back. SpaceX at 117s right now, ahead of earnings. So SpaceX did rebound back up. Hey, what's up, First Choice? But yeah, I mean, look, we'll see if we get more news. We see the Iraqi oil minister says negotiations with Iran are underway regarding facilitating the passage of oil tankers through the strait. There is progress in talks between Iran and Oman regarding a temporary solution for the Strait of Hormuz, according to I-24. Yeah, progress in talks between Iran and Oman regarding a temporary solution for the Strait of Hormuz, apparently. And McDonald's, basically flat EPS, revenue missed. I'm surprised it's going up, honestly, this morning. Pfizer also reported they posted 77 versus 68 cent EPS, revenue of 15 billion. They expected 14.4. So Pfizer did pretty good. But again, a Qatari official says language has been drafted for a possible U.S.-Iran deal, and oil is back under $80 a barrel. It's consistently falling down here. We'll see what we get. I will trade this today if we get some favorable setups regarding oil. But just be careful, because we could get news over the tape anytime regarding a deal and all that stuff. So you got to just be careful today. With Jolts coming out at 10, you know, next few days are going to be really interesting with big tech hurting some more. The NASDAQ is now over 29,000 here. I'm going to do a very simple poll. Was Michael Burry wrong? Yes or no? That's the poll today. Was Michael Burry wrong? Vote on that poll. There it is live right now. Dollar index is around 99. Yeah, yields. If we take a look at yields today, yields are kind of flat, honestly. They're not really moving that much. Oil, I mean, oil's falling down slightly, so maybe we'll see yields start to come down with oil. But here's yields on the day. They're basically flat. They're at 4.25% for 2-year treasury yields. He was wrong on Palantir for sure. Yeah, Palantir, man. Look at this move. 145s right now. No, just early. We're going into a blow-off top across August and September. Nope, come September, we'll see. Depends if he jumped out of those shorts at the right point regarding Burry. Yeah, maybe, dude. Not if he sold the top. Yeah, I mean, look. I think he's still green in a lot of things. Palantir, I don't know if he's green on that one. I don't remember where he entered Palantir at regarding price. I don't know if he specified. But Palantir, again, up 16% overnight on earnings. Caterpillar, also another one of Burry's shorts. Again, posted earnings this morning. It's up to over 900s here. I mean, if we look at a long-term chart, though, we're still back up to where we were right around when he got into some of these shorts here. He was entering way before this, but we're kind of reclaiming some ground here in some of the shorts that Burry got into. Gold buying. Yeah, we can look at gold here today. Let me see where gold actually is at. I don't know if this is the right print here for gold. Yeah, gold's at about 4,090 right now, but it's slightly green. It's basically flat on the day as well. Yeah, Cat came out with their numbers. Caterpillar posted a second quarter beat, 817 versus 620 expected. But yeah, the big story is Caterpillar. Again, Cat beat by about 6% in their numbers. Amazon hit 3 trillion in market cap as well. Look at Amazon. So 3 trillion in market cap for Amazon now, top 3 trillion for the first time. This is after Amazon Web Services grew 37% in earnings. CapEx was raised at 220 billion, and it backlog, the almost 500 billion backlog, was validated a little bit. So Amazon is now getting kind of Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, and Google treatment. They're all around 3 trillion in value and market cap. So in terms of rotations this morning, if you look at ServiceNow, I mean, ServiceNow and software are down a little bit on the day after having a good day yesterday for the most part. There's ServiceNow. Here's Adobe. You can look at like IBM. They're all doing pretty similar things. They're down slightly on the day. Nvidia had a pretty big rebound. Nvidia's back up to almost 210s right now. And this is another one of Burry's shorts. I think he's shorting this one under 200 as well. It's like 198s, if I remember correctly, for Nvidia. So Nvidia up to 210s. Looking at our poll, 61% vote Michael Burry was wrong. So, I think SpaceX wants $80. We'll see, dude. They get Nvidia up to 209.50. Yeah, McDonald's is already out. Here's McDonald's. So they missed revenue, flat EPS. McDonald's at 270, basically 269. NASDAQ new all-time high before September. I don't know, bro. He was right yesterday. I mean, he was a little right, for sure. He was right in some of his memory shorts. Again, he's shorting a lot of these. I think he's shorting, he added to them, but he's shorting MU at like 1,000 plus. It's at 829s. So he's probably losing in Palantir now, though. Palantir down up to 140s. So it depends on where he entered it, but none of this is shocking. All IPOs lose months following. So if you wanted to own SpaceX, it's no secret. Yeah, here's SpaceX. It's back up some today. It actually had a green day yesterday, which has been rare for SpaceX lately. Besson is also speaking right now. He said many people believe the Chinese yuan is undervalued. He said, I have a good working relationship with my counterpart. On yen intervention, he said if yen weakens, other currencies would follow it. And so it's important to have a framework, he said, adding Japan is making serious efforts to stem the yen's depreciation. He also said he has a good working relationship with his Japanese counterparts and believes Japan will, quote, put the right policies in place. Again, we did have Tesla China deliveries come out this morning. Tesla's moving a little bit. It's actually green on the day as well. China deliveries rose almost 38% year over year. Says Tesla China July deliveries hit 93,579 units. So that data is out. Tesla actually green. It's another one of Burry's shorts, actually. I believe he's shorting Tesla, if I remember correctly. But one of the big stories is oil right now. Again, oil now under $80 a barrel here. I'm tempted to continuation short this, but my fear is that if we are close to a deal, which again is a big if, we might get some bounce backs, or we might get some continuations down. Again, Cutter's Al Ansari says, until now, we cannot say the U.S.-Iran deal has been reached. I'm sure there's a little bit of translation issues there. I'm sure he means right now there's not a deal on the books yet, but he said there's currently no set agenda for direct U.S.-Iran talks. Nothing in the books when it comes to U.S.-Iran talks. Resolution would help go back to U.S.-Iran talks. Focus right now is on short-term resolution. Yeah, I'm looking at crude oil, Carlo, mostly. WTI, West Texas Intermediate Crude Futures. U.S. oil is basically what I'm looking at. We can look at Brent as well to see where worldwide crude is. Brent is currently pretty close to, where we're at now. It's at $83 a barrel, so it's a little bit higher. But I'm showing Brent's right around $83.50 a barrel as of now. Hey, what's up, Sam? Every day is the same. Market getting sick of hearing it. Taco Tuesday, maybe a little bit. Again, Bessett's still speaking. He said he believes the Bank of Japan will do what is needed. Again, has a good working relationship with Japan's Katayama. Again, so crude prices did trim the gains a little bit. Again, you can see they're under $80 a barrel following reports that Qatar says language has been drafted on a possible U.S.-Iran deal. Dollar also sold off a little bit. Bond equities, futures, and gold bid. So, again, oil dipping is helping gold a little bit short term. You can see gold did a little rebound here as oil drops. Dollar index probably coming down because in order to buy bonds, people need the U.S. dollar. And if less people buy bonds, dollar goes down. That's because when yields go down from cheaper oil, the dollar index follows it down to a certain extent on that front. And look at the Dixie fall here. It's at 99.89s right now on the dollar index. So the Dixie is still falling down under $100. Almost at a barrel. I'd buy $100 of the dollar in a barrel, you know. Or I would buy a barrel full of dollars for $100, I think. But yeah, Tesla numbers. Oil minister in Iraq says negotiations with Iran are underway regarding this facilitating the passage of oil tankers through the strait. We do have some people speaking today. We have Fed's Paulson. We'll give an interview to CNBC. Paulson said monetary policy was appropriately restrictive in May and was helping to contain inflation pressures from tariffs in the Middle East conflict. She said rate cuts would only become appropriate following sustained inflation progress and described it as healthy, that markets were pricing in scenarios of an extended hold or further tightening. Also added that risk to the inflation mandate of increase with the outcome heavily dependent on the duration of the Middle Eastern conflict. Which I don't necessarily disagree with what they're saying here, or what they said in May. Treasury Secretary Bessent said Fed's facility meant to keep volatility offshore. I won't prejudge what the Bank of Japan should do. Optimistic on their policy path, proud to stand with Japan to help stabilize things. It will require policy to follow up on the intervention. And I think it would be reasonable for the Fed to consider upsizing it. They said. Buy or sell oil today, guys? What do you guys think? Is it buy or sell oil? What's up, AT? I have a long-term U.S. oil short on. It will deteriorate much more than CL over the next few weeks. Yeah, here's U.S. oil. It is down a little bit on the day. I mean, it's following oil prices, but CL futures still falling heavily on potential optimism about a deal. Again, I get deja vu doing this. I really do get deja vu doing this because we've been here so many times before. You know, you guys know how much we've sat here and talked about a potential deal, and then maybe one gets announced, maybe it doesn't. And so I really do get deja vu a lot here talking about this because it's been such a heavy market print. Yeah, I said buy or sell oil. I see buy, sell oil, then buy, sell, buy, buy CL futures. I think a buy is smarter on oil. I mean, if we go by historical trends, you definitely could argue it. I think eventually we'll get a deal done. It's hard to tell when. It's hard to tell what it's going to look like. It's hard to tell if it'll stick. But I think we'll eventually get a deal done. It's just, you know, who knows when that's going to be. And it's definitely not a given this current market. Back and forth markets don't even care anymore. I mean, oil's falling down. They certainly care about that. Yields are sensitive to it. And look at oil dip. Down to 79.20s right now. Is this news? Hold on, real quick. Is this news? It looks like news. I might be wrong here. This is almost certainly some type of quote going on. Look at the oil dump real quick. Let's check. Besson on the yen intervention. Japan's tech sector is strong. Won't see growth in Japan. It seems to me the euro is much closer to equilibrium. But this seems geopolitically related, no? But look at oil fall here. Here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ shooting up on this news. So whatever the news is making oil fall and the NASDAQ go up here. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, so U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says we may have Iran deal tomorrow to open Hormuz, according to the CNBC interview he's on. So Bessent speaking right now. Again, he did say that we may have an Iran deal tomorrow to open Hormuz, according to CNBC. And so this is probably what's dumping oil down here. It's hard to tell for sure, but it looks like that's what this is. Again, here is what I'm showing here. Bessent said. Let me fix this. But yeah, it's looking, Bessent saying we might have a deal to open Hormuz by tomorrow, making markets a little bit more optimistic today here. Look at this move. But again, we saw quite a few ships coming out of Hormuz even now. We may have an Iran deal tomorrow to open Hormuz. Again, this is in a CNBC interview. He said the deal is possible Tuesday or Wednesday on Hormuz, according to the CNBC interview. And so this is probably what dipped oil. I should have gotten into that continuation short I was thinking of here. But oil falling down here at 78.50s a barrel now on optimism around a potential deal is what it looks like this is. Hormuz open for the 10th time. Yeah, so oil fell, NASDAQ popped on this catalyst here. Again, we are over 29,000 on the NASDAQ, which is an optimistic thing, man. Again, chips are back, bouncing back a little bit. Caterpillar had good earnings. We have Amazon breaking a $3 trillion market cap. And now we got rumors circulating about Hormuz reopening tomorrow. Do you believe this? Yes or no? I'm not saying you shouldn't. Again, Brent crude futures down over 1% on hopes of a U.S.-Iran deal. He said, Bessent did say that things have been dicey the past few days in the Gulf. May have to deal with Iran today or tomorrow to open Hormuz. Deal would be freedom of movement and no tolls. Expect energy prices to settle down some. We saw quite a few ships coming out of Hormuz even now in the CNBC interview, and that the deal is possible today or tomorrow on Hormuz. And you can see oil, guys. Oil just cracked that low level again. It's down to $78 a barrel as of now for oil here. $78 a barrel on this. But again, oil is crashing down after Treasury Secretary Bessent said a deal to open Hormuz is possible today or tomorrow. And maybe this is a little bit of early stuff coming out. He did say he does not think the carry trade is going to go away entirely. But look at oil dip. Yeah, here's Bessent right here
on this screen, but many others, especially especially in print, had just become stenographers. And same for many of the Wall Street firms. Look, I began with Wall Street in 1984. And you never knew what the Fed was going to do, and you had to be positioned accordingly, and you actually had to do your own work. And I think we are seeing a detox here, and all this with forward guidance that I think every meeting should be live, and that market participants should make their own judgments. Because I can tell you, in my opinion, what caused the great inflation. The Fed was late raising rates, but the reason they were late raising rates is that November of 21, it was clear that the economy was hot and the Fed needed to do something, but they kept QE going. until the month before they started hiking rates. So they were buying hundreds of billions of dollars of bonds. And that was because they felt locked in with forward guidance. So I think Chair Wark
And that was
wants to
inflationary.
maintain optionality for optimal outcomes.
All right, so yeah, he's talking about Warsh. He's talking about why we're in where we're in now. He's basically saying we kept quantitative easing, expanding the Fed's balance sheet through 2021 and late 2022. And again, inflation by 2022 spiked up to almost 10%. It was at like 9.1%. But yeah, again, he did say earlier he thinks we may have a deal today or tomorrow to open the Strait of Hormuz, is what this is. And you can see oil down here. The question is, does oil continue to fall? I'm tempted to buy this short term. It might be a little risky. I'm going to take one contract here. Just one. Again, I think he's probably done talking about that deal, and maybe markets could overreact and we could head back up. Actually, I'll take two. I lied. I'll take two contracts. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's basically what he's basically saying. He doesn't want to take forward guidance, or he's trying to justify not taking forward guidance here. All right, so we got a little bounce in oil. I'm sorry, Max. This is a very short-term day trade. All right, this is a very short-term day trade. So I know you're short in oil right now. This is just trying to capitalize on maybe an overreaction to the downside here, but we got to be careful. So very small trade. If we lose, we lose. It's been a very good few weeks. And I just want to see if we overreacted in oil prices a little bit here, and we might get some edge on the upside here. I'll set a stop loss down here. And we'll see what we get. But I just want to see if we rebound back up on oil a little bit. Again, markets are reacting to the Treasury Secretary Bessent saying we may have a Hormuz opening deal today or tomorrow. Whether that actually happens, we'll see. But short or long, I don't know what to do here. Long or short oil right now, guys? What do y'all think? Again, we reacted a lot to oil. We just dropped down from basically $80 a barrel all the way down to 77s here. So I think this could be a short-term overreaction. Maybe we continue down, especially if we get more confirmation in a deal. But short. And now we are down. So we might get stopped out here. Oil continuing to break lows. Yeah, we just got stopped out. Oil's still falling down here. Let me see what Bessett's saying.
Let up in this AI CapEx. And look, I like Steve, but I think that to categorically say that everything's an AI trade is an incomplete thought. That
Oil's
I
still
think
falling
the
down.
underlying dynamics of the economy are very strong. And one thing that is very interesting to me is we are seeing this small business formation, and we can see it as we talk to the nation's banks, as we see the filings at the IRS, and for new startups, we are seeing like this big Main Street and small business revival, and I think a lot of that may be due to AI. Wall Street Journal had an interesting story, I believe it was last week or the week before, that said you're seeing the rise of the one-person startup, and a lot of that is AI enabled.
Sure,
and
yeah.
the professor from Notre Dame was talking about what we're seeing in terms of AI implementation. And I'm old enough to remember what happened in the 90s when we saw the office tech boom, and you saw this whole cottage industry spring up that didn't previously exist. I think they were called system integrators, and they were bringing the office modernization revolution into both small, medium, and large businesses, and I would expect we could see a boom in that.
Yeah, so Bessett's still speaking. Oil's still breaking down here. Look at WTI crude. So maybe I got in too early. I don't think a counter trade is necessarily wrong here, but I was definitely wrong with that trade. Maybe my stop was too tight, and maybe I'm just trading into the wrong momentum. We're at 77.20. It's a very small trade. Very small trade. So we'll see if we get anything. But look at oil continuing to fade this morning, continuing to fall down here. Still dropping. Max, maybe you were right, bro. Maybe you were right. He's speaking on CNBC right now, Relic. No, I like it. Way too early. Nice trade. Oh, thank you, Luciano. Yeah. Burry suffered huge losses, closed his hedge fund down. That was a while ago. 74 is the spot. Yeah, here's the oil coming down. Where's your entry, Max? You're shorting oil. Where's your entry, brother? But oil's still coming down. Let me see what Beston's saying.
Lead time, so they've got to be thinking what's going on 9, 12, 18 months out. And I do think that there are a lot of things going on there. You know, we're seeing shelter owners equivalent rents
inflation
come down, and you know, that's where core inflation is. And the media doesn't want to report it, but President Trump has done it again. Same as he did in his first term. In the president's first term, hourly workers did better than supervisory workers, and now what we're seeing now is the bottom quartile of wage earners have had year over year 5.5% wage gains, and that's 3 times more than the top quartile. So look, this inflation and this affordability crisis that the Biden era got us, you know, this big increase in, or step function increase in price levels. There are 2 ways to combat that. You can slow the inflation, which I do believe the core inflation is slowing, but for working Americans, real wage gains, and you know, we can see that the bottom 25% of workers had a 2% wage gain. And with everything that we're seeing in the media, it's difficult to discern.
Yeah, so Besant's still speaking right now. Oil's still at these lows at $77 a barrel. We'll see if 77 can prop it up. Again, participate in the chat, guys. Again, was Michael Burry wrong? 62% say yes, 38% say no. Yeah, yields are going to be falling right now. Interesting finance. The reason yields are down is because oil is down, right? So for those that don't understand this, maybe you're watching, you know, let me know if you appreciate our content, number one. But look at oil test these lows again. But this all has to do with oil-driven inflation, right? So if inflation goes up, yields go up, because that means we might have to have higher interest rate sentiment to kind of push rates down. The Fed will raise rates if inflation is too much of a concern. And they have their dual mandate, strong labor, low inflation, right? So when inflation is high, they have to raise rates sometimes, and it creates just a higher interest rate sentiment, and yields and interest rates follow each other. So yields go up as we have higher inflation, higher interest rate sentiment. Yields go down, which they're probably doing right now. Yields are probably, I mean, oil's dipping, so yields are probably dipping with it, because that means less inflation pressure. Again, this week we do have the jobs report coming out on Friday. We have the Jolts report coming out today at 10 a.m. And so we'll get a look at jobs, right? The Fed has both sides of their dual mandate, and both sides are heavily watched in terms of yields, in terms of markets, in terms of influence. And this week, it's all about jobs. You know, the week after, next week, we have CPI inflation coming out for July, which will be a really interesting report, because in June, inflation went down, or it slowed down. In July, oil prices were back higher here. Now, they're starting to dip back down, but oil prices in July did hit 90 plus. But look at oil continuing to fall down here. Again, he said the K-shaped, Bessent said the K-shaped economy is over. I do believe core inflation is slowing. You guys just heard that. Fed has to be thinking 9, 12, 18 months out. But again, the big news that is really moving oil down, moving markets higher, is that Treasury Secretary Bessent said there may be a deal today or tomorrow to open the Strait of Hormuz with, quote, freedom of movement on CNBC. Basically, no tolls. Is what he's saying. He said we should have a deal to open up the Strait of Hormuz today or tomorrow with no tolls, is essentially what he's trying to say. Freedom of movement, no tolls. So oil prices are falling all the way down to $76 a barrel here. And we'll see if they keep falling today. But a morning jolt here in markets, a morning influence in markets. Where's the bottom on oil short term? What do you guys think? Yeah, Memory's doing good today. Palantir killed it. Caterpillar killed it. A lot of Burry shorts are maybe not underwater. Some of them definitely are though. If you lose money because you buy and sell based on someone else's word, that's 100% on you. That's just me though. What's up, Jason? What's up, Faye? Oil to 25. I don't know what the Jolts report is going to say. Or jawbowing. Yeah, they want higher, but there's no deal. 74.50 is crude bottom. 70 is 75 for oil. Burry is always too early. Yeah, he might be wrong. But he could also just be early. I don't know. Oil just broke lows again. 76s now for oil here. Look at oil dip. What's up, Jason? I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm on vacation. Look at my view here today, guys. Look at this view. I don't know if y'all will be able to see it, but look at this view right now. I almost streamed from out here, to be honest. Hey, look at this. I almost streamed from out here. So. Maybe one day we'll get a morning stream out there. John, any plan to short Palantir? No, I'm not shorting Palantir. Do you ever listen to yourself blaming someone else for your own trading choices? Who are you talking to? I don't know whose fault my losses are. It's definitely not my fault, guys. I think it's the chat's fault. Maybe it's Britt's fault. He's not even here today. But I can't tell if you're talking to me or somebody else, bro. Yeah, we're in Florida right now. 35.1% of Burry's portfolio is long. Oil back over 77 a barrel here. Software rate came out. Again, Bessett's done on CNBC, so he's now done on CNBC. But yeah, Bessett is what's moving markets today. Treasury Secretary Bessett. We put some of his some of his segment on here. But again, oil has fallen down after Bessett says a deal with Iran and reopening the Strait of Hormuz with freedom of movement, essentially no tolls, should happen today or tomorrow is what he says. Let's see if that's follow through is true here. Like how you're confrontational, don't let him talk smack to you. I mean, look, I don't know if he's talking to me or not. I don't know if I blamed anybody else for my trades. And so I don't know if he's talking to somebody in the chat. He's generally pretty active here. So again, it's hard to tell. Chat moves kind of quickly when you got 1,200 people here. So it's hard to figure out who he's talking to. Short the bounce in oil. I don't know, man. We've already fallen down a lot. And I think markets are still kind of skeptical. They're still kind of apprehensive regarding a deal. We still don't know whether we're going to actually get one. We still don't know if, any of that's going to happen. So I see Anthropic has struck a $10 billion deal for computing capacity from a months-old infrastructure startup, according to people familiar with the matter. Again, Anthropic, $10 billion computing deal with AI cloud startup Volta. But yeah, look at oil. Still fading here this morning, man. And it was dropping already prior to this on Qatar coming out essentially saying that we have the baseline of talks with U.S. Iran. Both sides are kind of communicating a little bit here, so that's good, but who took a leveraged Pecky? Who are you talking to? I can't tell. That hat makes your head too big, or not too big, big head John. Bro, you know there's an actual correlation between head size and intelligence. I don't know if y'all knew this, but there's an actual correlation. My son, when he was a young pup, when he was like 6, 5, had a huge head, dude. It was honestly genuinely concerning. I was honestly genuinely worried about it for a while. He grew into it. But I remember I bought him a hat from the Disney store. And this hat was like an appropriate hat for his age. And I went to give it to him, and it literally just sat on top of his head. And so basically, if you're telling me I got a huge head, I appreciate the compliment, sir. I appreciate the compliment. I was a subscriber 5 years ago, if I remember correctly. Used to trade mainly off of VWAP. I mean, I still trade off of VWAP. I trade the 200 exponential as well, though. We trade the VWAP, 200 EMA. Try to attack trends, but I must be brilliant then. Yeah, listen. Of course not, Tanvir. John's hitting a bud. I'm not hitting bud, bro. Bro, you know I am telling it with love. All love here, Sabars. Oh, there's a guy here who thinks it's Burry's fault that people followed him with leverage bets. I mean, I don't think it's Burry's fault. People are going to do what they got to do, or what they want to do. Burry can't really influence that. And to a certain extent, Burry was right about all this. I mean, look. He got in, and he literally got in at the top. Now, maybe Burry, I think one of the criticisms you might be able to have with Burry is that he might sit on these positions too long looking for big short scenario situations. But he was right at almost everything short term. Now, we're starting to bounce back some, but I still think he's probably green in a lot of this stuff. Yeah. My wife's got a small head. He's spitting facts over here. Hey, I didn't say it. You said it, bro. I didn't call your wife dumb. That's not what I said, All right, guys. Oil bouncing back a little bit. 77.5s here. Again, Anthropic inking a $10 billion deal here. Let's see if markets continue to bounce back. Here's Nvidia. Nvidia up to almost 211s. Surely has taken some profits on the way down. I'm not sure, Cajun. Maybe he did. Who knows, bro? Burry actually nailed the trade. You can't deny it. Burry is still green on his recent shorts. I don't know if he's taking some profit, Cajun. I'm not sure, bro. Maybe he has. Maybe he hasn't. Doesn't really tell us. NASDAQ still at 29,200s. Oil's still down. Pretty big on the day after Bessent's quotes. Do you think this big bounce in market sticks? I don't know, bro. A lot of big questions regarding things. Depends on if we actually get a deal. Again, Treasury Secretary Bessent comments covering Iran and Japan on the CNBC interview, but markets are really up and oil is down because he said that we have a potential deal to reopen the strait today or tomorrow. But nothing will stick for too long in this market. Any moment a tweak can happen. Yeah. Oil's so influential right now as well. I mean, oil has been the big story since March. When oil goes higher, inflation fears get there, yields go up, hawkish sentiment rises. When oil goes down, yields fall, dovish sentiment rises. And so right now we're in this market that just kind of goes back and forth a lot regarding this type of stuff, depending on geopolitics and more. So, yeah. Depends on how confident big guys are a deal is real in data. The deal will happen over the weekend. Yeah, maybe. It's Tuesday right now. We do have the labor report on Friday. We got the Jolts report today. We got ADP's monthly report tomorrow. We have jobless claims on Thursday. And then the week afterwards, we get CPI inflation for July, which, again, I think CPI is going to be higher than it was last time. In July, oil rose, got over $90 a barrel at some points in July. And so I think CPI print next month or next week is going to have oil more elevated, or is going to have inflation more elevated than it was in June. I think this is pretty clear when you look at the numbers of oil in that month. So rate hike is still likely as of now. And with all of this, let's take a look. I'm sure the rate hike odds are falling down a little bit with lower oil prices right now, but Here's the Fed watch tool. 60% chance roughly that we're going to raise rates next month as of now. Still about 60% chance likely. Now this is going to depend. I think this might actually increase, but it depends on what happens geopolitically. Like if we stay the same geopolitically and we get higher inflation next week, we might see the rate hike odds go up a little bit, just because oil's going to be higher. People are going to take that and say, hey, yields are up, higher interest rate sentiment is here, inflation problems persist, and so maybe we're going to have a higher chance of raising rates next meeting. If we do get a deal done with Iran, another deal, I should say, and we see oil prices fall, then the fears regarding inflation should, go away some, and we might see lower odds of a rate hike next meeting, but it's still pretty split. It's less than 60-40 right now in the odds for a rate hike. Do we raise rates next month in September? Let me know. Best in just buying time. AMD earnings. Yeah, AMD earnings today. We did have Caterpillars. Regarding Burry, we had Caterpillar up to 920s. We got Palantir, another one of Burry's shorts, up to 140s. They killed it with earnings. Alex Karp came out saying some optimistic things about sovereign AI and AI in general. They raised guidance, beat EPS, beat revenue for Palantir. Caterpillar did as well, basically, up to 920s this morning. Again, do we raise rates next month? What do you guys think? I think they're about to revalue gold. We're not raising rates. No rates will be hiked this year. Yeah, I mean, it depends on oil right now, man. Oil is going to influence all of this. Inflation, you got to see oil as a proxy for inflation. High oil means high inflation, which means higher rate sentiment. Lower oil means, lower inflation, which means lower rate sentiment. So you got to look at oil as a proxy for rates right now, I think. And people are pretty split. Some people are saying we're going to raise. Some people are saying we're not. So, I don't know. I think it depends on oil. I think the inflation report, as of now, if oil stayed the same price up until next Tuesday and Wednesday with CPI and PPI, I think inflation is going to be higher than previously. Now, it's all relative to expectations, though. Those numbers are getting baked into the market already a little bit. But, hey, what's up, GP? Thank you, brother. Wishing you a profitable day as well, dude. Rate cuts before midterms. Just got back home. What's up, Sam? But, yeah, Caterpillar up, Palantir up, oil down today. If we look at gold here, we can take a look at gold. But again, gold is rate sensitive as well. So like I said, everything kind of pivots back to oil right now, I think. And here's gold. Gold hit over 4100s for a little while. It's back under there now. Gold is rate sensitive as well, right? So if we have lower oil, gold usually goes up. So gold kind of does the opposite of oil right now. If oil goes down, gold goes higher because, again, when yields go up from higher oil, more people buy bonds to capitalize on the higher yields. Less people are interested in gold. When oil moves down like it did this morning, gold generally goes higher because, less people are buying bonds because the payout in bonds, the yields in bonds are lower from lower oil and lower inflation. So gold is really rate sensitive. It's kind of flat this morning, but it did rise a little bit as oil fell. But it's starting to dip down somewhat as oil starts to rebound back up here. Auntie and Peck, I want you guys to both say something nice about the other one. All right, both Anti-War and Pecky, I want you to both say something nice about the other one. I'm going to do a countdown. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both of y'all say something nice about the other one right now. All right, Anti-War and Peck, where's the nice things? Timeout, yeah. Listen, Papa John is here today, all right? What's up, Sparta? Yeah, y'all say something nice about the other one right now. Both of y'all are quiet right now. Insert your nice things here. Yeah, both of y'all are quiet. Come on now. You guys should kiss. Yeah, hey. Papa John is here this morning, guys. Y'all be nice. Hold hands. Yes, sir. They both smell good. Thank you, Guillermo. I appreciate the positive comment, dude. Y'all breaking up a fight? They were both quiet. Neither one of them wants to say anything nice about the other one. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air. Like Phil Collins. Yeah, oil is moving back higher here. It's at almost $78 a barrel now. Yeah, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Here's Bitcoin right here. Bitcoin back up some today. You can feel their arms are folded. Yeah, hey. All right, so just to give you guys a timeline here. In March, the president threatened to hit and obliterate power plants, delayed strikes for 5 days as of March 23rd, citing productive conversations with Iran. On April 7th, more escalation. Hours later, a 2-week ceasefire was announced. April 21st, he said he expects more strikes if talks failed. Later that day, they extended the ceasefire. May 17th, warned, quote, the clock is ticking. May 18th, paused planned strikes after requests from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. On June 11th, he said the U.S. would hit Iran very hard tonight. Hours later, canceled the operation, saying a deal was near. On August 1st, recently, a few days ago, he said the U.S. was locked and loaded, and then later called off an attack over the weekend to pursue a deal with Tehran. And so now we are hearing from, again, Treasury Secretary Bassett that a potential deal to reopen the strait is incoming. Man, honestly, you guys were right. I think my long in oil was correct. I was just early. I was just a little early here, but I think my long in oil was right. I just got in a little bit early, just a tad bit too early here. Was I right in oil, guys? Does oil continue to bounce back here? NASDAQ is also pulling back. It does kind of look like a nice little pullback to buy into on the NQ here. We'll see if we do. But, yeah. Yeah, Cola, that was about 10 minutes ago. We actually played some of it, but yeah, Bassett essentially said a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz with freedom of movement, essentially no tolls, was likely today or tomorrow here. I'm tempted to buy the NASDAQ here, though, but I guess I'm going to buy it here. We'll take 2 contracts. Set a stop loss down here. And try to give this some more time to work. But yeah, Bassett said a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz is possible today or tomorrow with freedom of movement, essentially no tolls. Oil at a discount right now. I was slowed down in the video. Pecky is a nice guy. Okay, that's nice, Auntie. You know, that's nice. That's nice enough. I'll give you that. I swear they got to make a drink out of this ordeal at least. Or move straight on the rocks. Bassett is showing his desperation. I don't know. We got word from Oman and we got word from Qatar that a deal is circulating, like the outline of a deal is circulating between the 2 parties. Before we got the news about Bassett saying a deal might be imminent today or tomorrow, we got news that a outline of one was circulating between the 2 parties prior to this, right? And that's one of the reasons oil fell down some. Have you tried pouches? Nah, bro, I'm not a big pouch guy. I don't want to have to spit, you know. Quote that, but I don't want to have to spit. I used to do, yeah, I used to use back in the day, but I'm not doing that. All right, so we got to move up here. Look at the NASDAQ rebounding. Is oil falling simultaneously? A little bit. Y'all are still arguing, man. All right, guys. So we are green, slightly green, very small. Hit the like button, guys. Again, Treasury Secretary Besson a few minutes ago said Washington may reach a deal with Iran as soon as tomorrow or today to reopen the strait. All right, so we're green here. Oil fading back down a little bit right now. NASDAQ going higher here. Did we get anything else? I don't think this is news necessarily here, but... NASDAQ's starting to wiggle a little bit more here. We'll take half off. Oil falling down some here. Here's gold. We're up over 5 grand in this account. But we lost yesterday for sure. And I think we're still down on the day because it's a small trade. I'll get rid of the stop loss though and wait. Very wrong again. Yeah, the drama today. The drama. Still watching oil here. Here's oil. Burry will eventually be right in a few months. Yeah, maybe he will, dude. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, Burry's been right so far, to be honest. Yeah, so Burry's mostly been right so far. All right, we're still moving higher here. I need to take larger trades. It's too small. See if oil keeps fading. All right, NASDAQ still rising here. Oil is actually rising simultaneously here, though. Let's see if there's a reason in stocks. Memory rising back up to highs of the day is partly what's driving this here. So look at MU, it's back up to 870s here, so. See if these rises continue. I wouldn't say he's completely wrong, but I'm expecting AMD to drag chips up today. Yeah, AMD earnings today. SpaceX's first look at earnings. They're not releasing until 6 o'clock, though. Very wrong on MU. I mean, he's right so far. I think he got in, what, at like 1,000 plus for MU short? That 860s right now. He did add to it, though. I'm not sure what his new average is. But I think he got in at like 1050 or something like that for MU. It's at 860s right now. So and that look, he's right so far. But again, he did add some to those positions here. So we'll see what happens. But very short at around 1050. Yeah, that's what I heard as well. It was about 1050. He added at 880. So what would that make his average? Depends on how much he added, but let's just say he added an equal size. And if he got in short at 1050 and he added at 880, his average price would be $9.65 if he took the same size. So in that context, he still would be green. I'm short AMD at 550s. Hey, good luck, bro. The question is, like, what's dragging markets up right now is chips, MU, NVIDIA rising. Look at NVIDIA back up to 210.50s. So chips have been going up. SK Hynix is going up. Here's SpaceX, man. SpaceX releases earnings today. It's at 118s right now, so SpaceX might hold here. See what NVIDIA does right here. NVIDIA's up there. Again, we do have Jolts today, so be careful. We do have Jolts. Tomorrow we got ADP. See if NVIDIA keeps going higher here. What did you do with that calculation? What formula? What just happened? It was pretty simple. I just took the average of both price points that Burry got in. So I basically added up both price points he got in and then divided it by 2 to get the average between the two prices. Again, I'm showing whatever. Again, that's assuming he took the same size, though. It's 965 is what I'm showing is this short on MU. But again, that's assuming he took the same size. I don't think he did. I think it was a little bit different. But you can kind of get a look at where Burry might be in that front, you know? And if you want to help support the channel, check out Apex, guys. Apex still has their 90% off. They have the cheapest accounts I've ever seen on Apex right now. Apex has, if you want to learn to day trade, most day traders lose money. It's just what happens to most new day traders. They lose money. But Apex, you can get in for really cheap. If you buy a 5-pack bundle of their cheapest accounts right now, it's $15 each, basically, $14.99. You can get a 5-pack for $75. If you just want to buy a one-off, it's only $16.70 right now. They also have end-of-day drawdown options. You can go activation, no activation fee. You can get a 100K eval for $59 if you use my code BGT at checkout. So we appreciate it, guys. Great way to help support our free content. They are an affiliate of mine. I am biased, of course, but if you want to check them out, we'll put the link up. And yeah, here's the link. Again, great way to help support the channel. Code BGT. Beginner Trading, BGT. Check it out. Here's the link. Nice, big dog. Hey, good job, dude. So I'm reading some of this here. If I choose to dedicate my personal time to spending it on this channel, joining with and being part of the community, what are my benefits? What resources do you have to offer? I mean, no resources here, bro. You're here to just, you know, hang out with us. We cover breaking news as soon as it happens faster than everybody else. But, you know, definitely no resources here, bro. Yeah, we don't sell a course. We don't sell a service. We don't claim to be experts. Burry might get liquidated. Jolts is at 10 a.m., guys. Only here for the music. We have the haha song. Hey. It's a vibe or get the F out. Yeah. Early tweets. Yeah. You get real-time economic data. I'd rather be real about it. Like, look, I told people I wouldn't sell a course, I wouldn't sell a service. I don't claim to be an expert. We just cover news faster than everybody else. So you're welcome, is what I'm saying here, guys. Here's 8:30 in 1 minute. But again, Jolts report comes out at 10 a.m. today, guys. It is the June data, though, for Jolts, just all things considered. But we have factory orders also releasing at 10. So we should see some volatility at 10. We get trade balance data at about 50 seconds. It's expected at negative 73 billion. Last time was negative 77. It's the ratio between exports and imports. And obviously, we import a lot more than we export in the U.S., not being as manufacturing heavy as we used to be. But we'll see what that balance data does in 30 seconds. I don't know if it's going to impact the market. The Nasdaq's kind of slowing a little bit ahead of it as well. Sometimes I wonder if you have a Bloomberg terminal, John. I'll never tell. I'm not going to say I do or I don't, but you'll never know. You got to just speculate forever. All right, there's 8:30 here. The import-export data did show up at negative 73.3 billion, a little bit more negative than expected, meaning we are importing a little bit more than we were expecting and exporting a little bit less for the trade balance data for June. I don't know if this is going to move things, but we wiggled a little bit from it, not a huge amount. The bigger data is at 10 a.m. today for all this stuff. Hey, my guy K, thanks so much for the donation, brother. Appreciate it, dude. John Social, 50K a month. Watching your channel instead of cutting the lawn. You better get out there and cut that grass, bro. You better help Granny out. I wouldn't have even clicked if I didn't see the coverage of macros and market news, which I appreciate. Hey, thank you, bro. Appreciate it, dude. Yeah, more buyers in 30 minutes. Yeah, I mean, 9 o'clock, we might see some movement here. But Nasdaq's kind of flat right now. I mean, again, the big news, again, if you're just now tuning in, Treasury Secretary Bassett said a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz is possible today or tomorrow. We'll see if that's the truth, but it is optimistic. Oil came down to under 77s. It's back up to about 78 right now. But it is more optimistic for sure. We'll see. And real quick, though, we are getting some news just now that's causing markets to fall here. Look at the Nasdaq dip. We were in a trade. We had to get out of it on that news. Again, we already covered the trade balance data. Again, negative 73.26 billion. They expected about 73. So basically flat. A little bit more imports than exports expected. But something's going on in the Nasdaq here. It's not the 8:30 data. That was a minute plus. That was almost 2 minutes ago. What's oil doing? Is oil up? No, oil's not moving here. Which means it's probably stock related. MU coming down a little bit. Weird. A little late though. I don't think this is from the trade balance data though. I'm still looking on the tape. Again, trade balance data, negative 73.3 billion versus negative 73 expected. Lower than last time, though. Maybe it's not a news-driven candle. Oil's not really moving at all, so oil's kind of stagnating, but... It's not the U.S. trade deficit data. Markets aren't going to interpret it 2 minutes later. Again, markets react immediately to this type of stuff, usually. So it's not the trade balance data. It could just be a stop out candle. I don't know. I see memory falling down a little bit. It could be memory pulling back some. See gold. Gold bounced it up a little bit as well. I predicted this bull market wouldn't stop, and I think aside from the profit-taking call put rotation, I truly believe the past data is matching the scenario and we won't have any cold streaks. Yeah, but this market is all about geopolitics, I think, right now, man. Just based off of how it moves. A deal is imminent, makes markets go up and oil come down. And that moves everything else. So, Yeah, this market's all geopolitics, I think. Still watching oil here, though. I think this is memory related, though, to be honest. Yeah, MU pulling back. Looked like it might break highs of the day up there at 872. It got close to it at 870 and then rejected back down. So I think this is just memory pullbacks. Microsoft and software. I mean, it's down. Software's down on the day, and so is Microsoft. Microsoft been down to 478. ServiceNow down to 111. Adobe down. IBM down. So software is down today. Memory is up. MU, SanDisk, SK Hynix. They're all up. Kospi was flat overnight too, so there wasn't any big drop in the Kospi overnight. Yeah, Amazon's down. Meta's down slightly. Google's down as well. Again, this is memory related mostly this morning on the upside. I remember posting right on April 3rd to the 7th telling people to get ready for volatility, or telling people to get ready for Sirius. We were starting a bull market, 7x volatility in comparison. It's that weird 8:30 a.m. rebalance that does spike up and down. I don't think this is that, man. I really don't. Again, like we had the trade balance data, and then 2 minutes later, markets fell some. It wasn't a huge drop in hindsight. So I don't think it's the trade balance data moving things like that. I think oil bounced a little bit. It's starting to pull back some here now. And if we look at like the NASDAQ here, NASDAQ is still doing okay. I think it's memory fell. Like memory sector dipped a little bit. That dragged things down. Right now, the optimism is that memory's bouncing back is the story, I think, right now in market. So like memory bouncing back, making people a little bit more optimistic. We do have AMD earnings this afternoon. And AMD is green on the day. It's starting to pull back some here as well. But I think most of these drops recently were just memory related. Yeah, I did see gold running up some here. Like here's gold. Gold's ripping this morning. But I don't think this is the trade balance data. I just don't. Almost 90% earnings beat this season. Revenue estimates keep rising. You know, through the March, the market had those bad drops. Hey, what's up, Miss Tiny? Yeah, earnings did pretty well. Most things beat and raised, right? But all of them didn't go up. Like Meta missed, raised CapEx, fell. Google raised CapEx and fell, although it did beat by big margins. And so, yeah, I mean, they beat and raise, but I think that's a given almost right now in the current AI-centered market. I think companies have to beat and raise. If they don't, they plummet. And you can look at Meta for that example. Meta missed EPS by big margin and raised CapEx, and they fell a lot. So right now, I mean, I think it's almost a given that companies are going to beat and raise. Look at gold, though. Gold up to 4,100s plus. Let's see what we get heading into the day. Bitcoin's still a gamble. Yeah, with the Clarity Act floating around out there, that's the big question mark for Bitcoin that's been moving things, I think, here. I mean, the Jolts report should move things. We'll see. It's June data, but it might move things. We also have, what else do we have at 10? We have factory orders going out live as well. So we might get some price action from that. Again, what's honestly moving things more than anything else this morning is Treasury Secretary Bassett speaking. We've said it like 5 times, more than that probably, but that's really what is moving things. Again, Bassett coming out saying, essentially saying that a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz with no tolls should happen today or tomorrow. That dropped oil a lot. That pushed the NASDAQ higher here. But we'll see if oil continues to rebound. I did get in a long after some of this, but we ended up getting in a little bit too early, it looks like. Yeah, as of now, Poly Market only gives the Clarity Act about a 27% chance of passing. So 27% chance of the Clarity Act passing this year. So it's looking less likely. Bitcoin's down a little bit on the day as well. Again, Fed's Paulson is speaking. They said this is a complicated time for monetary policy. Inflation is too high, wants to bring it down, need mildly restrictive monetary policy, and Fed likely has that now. This is a complicated timeline for monetary policy. So Paulson is speaking right now on CNBC. Again, they kind of mirrored some of this sentiment in May when they spoke last time. Again, says current period is a complicated time for monetary policy via CNBC. Inflation is too high, and she wants to reduce it. Need mildly restrictive monetary policy, and Fed likely has that now. So she's basically neutral here, saying rates should essentially stay the same. But again, chat, do we end the year with higher rates than we have now? Yes or no? Put yes or no in chat. Do we end the year with higher rates? Yeah, 10 a.m. also reversal time. SanDisk's earnings are another interesting story here, but yeah, SanDisk. Again, in SanDisk's last earnings report, they were at like 650s. They're up to almost 1400s today. SanDisk releases tomorrow at the closing bell tomorrow, basically, for SanDisk. So I ask people, do we have higher rates than we have now? No, yes, no, 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 probably yes, yep, no. Pretty split, yes or no, no. I hope so, yes, no stay. Maybe we bump in November. Yeah, I think if we're going to raise, it's going to be towards the end of the year. Depends on what happens with geopolitics, though. I've said this once, I'll say it again. The conflict in Iran is going to be leading the Fed, unless we get like a big turnaround, like it. Just to give you guys some scenarios here. On Friday, we have the NFP report, right? If that data shows up super weak, you know, we've seen crazy prints over the last year in NFP data. If we get more weakness in NFP, if we see negative trending NFP, if we see super low, like 10K, 15K jobs or something crazy like that, that might swing things the other way around. And I think when we have both weak labor and high inflation, eventually the priority pivots to stimulating the economy. Why is that the case? And maybe you can disagree with that. I'm not even saying that's wrong. But whenever we get weak labor, like really weak labor and high inflation, usually markets pivot towards usually the Fed historically has pivoted more towards the labor side of it. Why do they do that? Well, because if we enter a recession, the Fed will have to super ease to get us out of it, essentially. They'll have to do QE, they'll have to print, but they won't have to, but they'll likely do it if we start entering a recession. And then that might cause worse inflation than a lot of things as well. So it's kind of this sticky market where right now the Fed's decisions and the Fed's guidance is going to be dependent on what happens with oil, what happens in the Middle East, unless we start to get weak, like really weak payroll data. And on Friday we get payroll data. It's the NFP report. So would you break your rules and go long on SanDisk if you saw it setting up in a strong way, fundamentally backed? I mean, what do you mean break my rules? I think I said it yesterday prior to these big rips in memory. Like if you guys were here yesterday, you probably remember me saying this, which is that I think long-term memory's cheap at these current levels. PE ratios are low. Now, I don't know if I'm necessarily talking about SanDisk. I'm more so talking about MU, SK Hynix, but I think long-term memory prices are low where they're at now, especially where they were at yesterday morning. But short-term, there might be headwinds. There might be risks. Like short-term, we could certainly keep crashing down, and it's kind of a risky time to buy, all things considered. But if you're holding something for a decade plus, I think memory prices are probably pretty cheap where they're at now. PE ratios are low. This pullback could be a buying opportunity. Not telling you to do it. Not an investment professional. But yeah. Oh. As a long-term trader, once you've made so much money off a stock, you usually just don't go back to it because you've learned the hard way in the past. But with SanDisk, would you break your rules and go back long on SanDisk if you saw it setting up in a strong fundamental way? If it dropped low enough, I'd buy it. I mean, I think SanDisk is good long-term. I mean, there's competition, there's other question marks, but like again, at these current prices, it's still probably cheap long term. Short term, I don't know. And I think when you invest in something, if you really believe in it, especially I guess if you're investing in indices more so than individual stocks, but in theory, you're supposed to sit on those things almost forever. Like you can build generational wealth buying up stocks, sitting on them long term. The problem and the reason most people use money managers is because most people do not have the discipline to do what I just said, which is just sit on things forever. And yeah, there's certainly risks. Sectors could certainly change, but if you diversify and you invest in indices or you invest in multiple different sectors, you're still probably going to be fine. Again, people use money managers because they make 20% or 30% and then they get out and they never buy in again and they miss out on the more broad gains that they would make. Regarding memory, though, I don't know. I think that's a hot sector right now, obviously. They're up huge percentages over the last year or two. And so I think the risks are a little bit higher investing in them, but I still think long term they're probably cheap. So that's kind of a long-winded answer there, but yeah. Hey, what's up, Brazi? Hey, thank you, my guy. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at oil here. Nasdaq's still trying to creep higher, but we got this big long wedge here now. I'm going to throw this thing in sub-only mode as well, guys. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. We appreciate it. Not really any big news. Paulson is still speaking. He said can't provide rate guidance now when keeping an open mind. It's great to take a fresh look at how the Fed does its work. When rates are at zero, forward guidance is appropriate. Uncertainty in current climate complicates forward guidance. Forward guidance means something pretty specific. It's right to look through supply shocks. It was not a close call to keep rates steady at the FOMC. Economy is strong, inflation too high, need a mildly restrictive monetary policy, and the Fed likely has that now. Again, she's been pretty neutral in the past, but she did say that it was not, it was not super controversial, or it wasn't a close call to keep rates steady. And again, this is something that I told you guys ahead of the Fed meeting, is that I did not think we were going to raise rates. There were still odds that we would raise rates, but I thought they overpriced rate hike odds in the last meeting. We made a bunch of gold, buying gold ahead of it because I thought gold would react positively when we paused because there was so much doom and gloom about rate hikes ahead of the FOMC. And again, she's kind of reiterating that it was not a close call to keep rates steady. I don't know, what was it? It was 3-9. We had 3 dissenters, which isn't really a close call, but there were dissenters in there. But yeah. What do you think Jolts data will come in at? I don't know. Jolts is expected at 7.44 million. Last time was 7.49. Now you hear job openings. It's Jolts job openings report. It's the Jolts. It's the job opening and labor turnover survey is what it means, right? So we have openings. Higher Jolts is stronger for jobs despite the name. Quits is also coming out at this. We in this report we have quits as well. Now higher quits is bad for labor. But I don't know. It depends on how much over under. I'm not even gonna try to guess what Jolt shows up as. You look different today. Yeah, I'm not home right now. Again, you can kind of see where I'm at right here. I'm gonna brag about. I'm gonna show this off all day. Look. I'm at the beach. Messing things up over here. There we go. But the Nasdaq's still in this range here. We got lows at 29,200 that seem to act as support here. We'll see if it holds. Yeah, it's a good view. Is that your lover's place? Yeah, definitely my lover's place. Who let John out the basement? I don't know. Yeah, what's up, Sorrel? How you doing, bro? All right, so yeah, Fed's Paulson says, want to understand the trade-offs of 6 versus 8 Fed meetings. Bro, they better not reduce the Fed meetings, bro. Me and Marshall have problems. All right, we're at under 200. We just broke under that low level here. And we do have the 9 a.m. scrum coming out in 12 minutes. The birds aren't here, bro. That was just in Michigan. Wife's boyfriend's place. Hey, shh. You know. Good vibe. Hey, thank you. Roll one. Yeah, it's nice, dude. Jealous, yeah. Where's task force? We gotta start a beach task force. All right, so yeah, we're under 29,200s here. Oil's stagnating a little bit after dropping a lot on Bassett, saying a deal was potentially coming today or tomorrow. I don't know though, dude. I've heard this all before. Part of me really wants to buy oil here. Sorry, Max. I know you're short oil. Part of me wants to buy it here, but obviously I think there's probably higher risk in doing that, just because if we do get a deal, even if we get an outline of a deal, even if we get more optimism around a deal, you know, obviously oil's going to dump. I don't think historical trends necessarily validate the downside, but maybe this is the time we actually get a solid one. I don't know. Hey, thank you, OP. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you, brother. Also, guys, look, you want to help support the channel, check out Lucid. Lucid's great because it has EOD drawdowns and everything. They also have their daily plan on Lucid right now. So on Lucid, there's end-of-day drawdown options and everything. They have their daily plan where there's no consistency in funded, and you can take daily payouts on Lucid as well, right? So Lucid has some of the best rules once you're funded. I still think the Lucid Flex is the best plan you can get, in all honesty here. So I think Lucid Flex is the best plan you can get, because once you're actually funded in Lucid Flex, there's EOD drawdowns, no consistency rule, no daily loss limit beyond your initial trail, and Flex specifically on Lucid. So out of all the funded account programs, out of all the prop firms, Apex is the cheapest, but Lucid has some of the best rules once you're actually funded here. So if you want to check out Lucid and you want to learn to trade, when most day traders do lose money, I'll put the link up. Shameless plug here, we got to pay the bills. But if you want to help support us and keep our content free, you know, you can check out the link here. They will reduce Fed meeting press events. Yeah, they did say that. What's up, Freddie? Where is your chair located in the room? It's right underneath me right now. I don't know if you knew that, but my chair is, you know, right under my butt right now is my chair, you know, just to put it out there. John, what's 4 minis or 40 micros? Can you explain? Yeah, so 40 micros is the equivalent of 4 minis, but it's in much larger, it's much more, let me think of how to put this. 40 micros is the equivalent of 4 minis. So 40 micros will give the same size essentially as 4 minis. It's just with more contracts, meaning you could scale out easier, you could scale in easier. If you're in profit, you could take more. There's more commissions with more contracts and micros, but they're essentially the same size. So 1 micro or 1 mini contract is the equivalent of 10 micros. So a micro contract is 10 times smaller than 1 mini contract. 1 mini contract is 10 times larger than 1 micro. So I can take 1 micro and take 1/10 of a mini contract, because a mini contract moves like that. You know, you can get 1 mini contract at the NASDAQ and be down $1,000 in 5 minutes. So yeah, micros are essentially smaller size. So if you want to trade even smaller size than 1 mini, which might be too large for a lot of people, you could trade micros. Yeah, I mean, I like Top Step still. Top Step's great. I trade 8 to 10 micros. I trade usually 1 to 8 micros. 1 mini's a little bit too much for me because I trade the NASDAQ. So, yeah. All right, so I think the U.S. is seeks comment on including more products and metal tariffs. They're suggesting tariffs on products such as welding machines and cranes, apparently. NASDAQ falling down a little bit. Oil still dipping down simultaneously, though. So oil still fading some. We're pretty flat, though, in this market. We're not really doing too much here. I mean, I still have accounts at Top Step. I mean, I like all of them, to be honest, GF. They're all good at different stuff, to be honest. I like Lucid once you're actually funded. I think Top Step's super reliable. Take Profit's got good payout rules. And so they're all good for different things, to be honest. The SPY gets to a new all-time high. I don't know. The NASDAQ is starting to fade a little bit here. Here's the SPY. SPY is just the S&P 500, but S&P's green on the day. I mean, chips are back up some. Here's MU. A lot of stuff is just sitting tight here. We'll see what 5 a.m. does. We had a lot of volatility at 9 a.m., I mean, yesterday. So at 9 o'clock yesterday, we did move a pretty significant amount here. NASDAQ at 29,197s. AMD earnings today should be one of the big fireworks of the market right now. Palantir earnings yesterday and Caterpillar earnings this morning. Look at Palantir, man. Palantir back up to 145. They raised guidance. They beat EPS. They beat revenue. Carp said some optimistic things. Caterpillar also beat EPS, beat revenue, raised guidance. Caterpillar up to 924s. And then we got AMD this afternoon, and then SpaceX also this afternoon. SpaceX back up to 116s, but it's still down a lot. So I trade 1 to 25 accounts, normally limited to 1 and 2 micros per 5 accounts. What's up, Sam? You green or red this week, bro? I'd almost want to get 2 of each, Lucid, 2 Top Step, 2 Take Profit. Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of different accounts at a bunch of different firms here. I did get funded on a Take Profit account the other day. Speaking of that, I don't think I've traded on it yet. Let me open that thing up. Freaking hate two-factor authentication, though. But I did get funded on Take Profit the other day. I think it was 100K eval. Yeah, we did get funded here. Let me see Trade Evade. All right, so here's the 9 o'clock numbers here. So 9 a.m. scrum happens in 1 minute here, guys. We do get the 9 a.m. scrum happening in about a minute here. NASDAQ still moving higher. Look at oil still falling down some. So oil is still dipping here. Is Paulson still speaking? No. Okay, they're done. But again, Anthropic, we got news about an Anthropic deal earlier. They signed a $10 billion deal for computing capacity with Volta, which is a months-old infrastructure startup backed by NVIDIA. It runs 6 years and will be delivered in partnership with BitDeer Tech, a Bitcoin miner that operates data centers. The data center site is in Norway. It offers 133 megawatts of capacity and will be operated with NVIDIA's newest Vera Rubin chips. They announced today that it raised $300 million in venture funding, valuing it at about $2.4 billion. Yeah, I'm in Florida right now. The prop world is good. I mean, if you want to get in for cheap, that's the way, I think, right? Like prop firms are good because most day traders are going to lose. That's what I always tell people. Like every trader thinks they're going to be different and they're going to get in and just make boatloads of money. The reality is most of the time, and I try to be real with people, like most of the time you're going to lose. Even like net, not even like short term. Most people are going to lose money long term day trading, right? So you can take it in two perspectives. You can say, hey, well, let me fund my own account thousands of dollars to be able to trade and probably lose it. Or there's 9 o'clock here, guys. So look at oil jump up. So oil is jumping up at 9 o'clock. Let's look at the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ starting to fade down a little bit at 9 a.m. But most day traders are going to lose, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. So you can either fund your own account or you can try prop firms. If you really want the cheapest account, Apex is probably the one. If you like the best rules once you're funded, again, Take Profit's good, Lucid's good, Tradeify is good. And again, you can check out the Apex link right there. I'll pin it. I don't think I pinned anything to the top yet, but again, Apex has $15 accounts right now. So if you want to get started and just try a cheap one, that might be the move. I mean, I certainly make much more money running this live stream than I do in trading, but I think that's 99.999% of affiliates or traders out there. I mean, anybody that tells you they don't is almost certainly lying to you. Again, I make way more money streaming, but it's a business at this point in time. It's kind of like the analogy I always use is if I opened up a YouTube channel for a mechanic, as a mechanic, and I showed people different things you could do as a mechanic, and that YouTube channel grew to a point where, you know, it started making money. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where you're going to make more from that YouTube channel about mechanics than you ever did as a mechanic. And that's just the natural, like, that's just what happens. But yeah. Yeah, you got to diversify your income sources. Trading's really difficult as well. Like, if you're living purely off of your trading profits, most of you are going to lose. There's too much emotion tied to it, you know, especially if you quit your job. Look at the NASDAQ jump up a little bit at 9 a.m. though. So the NASDAQ's starting to climb. Let me see if we have any news coming across here. Yeah, I'm not sitting here out of the kindness of my heart. Nobody is. I mean, listen, guys, I just like teaching. I like helping people. I would never do this to make money. You know, I'm not getting up at 6:15 Central Time, you know, because I like making money. I'm waking up every morning at 6 a.m. because I just like teaching, guys. I just like helping people, you know. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. Let's see if the NASDAQ holds though. NASDAQ jumping up a little bit. What's oil doing? Oil dipped a little bit, but the NASDAQ 9 a.m. data came in and it started to jump up a little bit. Oh, I'm joking, guys. I love you guys too. Y'all are my internet friends here, you know. Also my therapist half the time, so. All right, guys, NASDAQ's starting to climb a little bit here. Let's see what chips are doing. Here's MU. Here's SanDisk. Here's Google. Apple. Amazon hit 3 trillion in market cap. Palantir up big today. Caterpillar up big today. Man, that's a nice view here. Yeah, I try to be honest with people. I don't care what everybody else says about you, bro. You're a good dude. Hey, listen, I try to be a good guy, man. I mean, you guys got to understand, if I wanted to be sleazy guru and slang courses out here, and I mean, I could. I promised the stream years ago I wouldn't do it though, and I got to stick to what I said. I'm trying to follow through with what I said. So I'm not gonna be too specific. I'm at the beach right now, for sure. I'm not gonna be too specific. Hey, thank you, Sam, my guy. Hey, I appreciate you, Sam. Where's the song, bro? I gotta find it, dude. I gotta find it. John the Honorable? Yeah. Yeah, the place is called The Beach. Yeah, that's right. What are you guys the most interested in buying today? Anybody want to buy AMD ahead of earnings, or is that too risky? I think AMD is going to beat and raise right now. But do I like it enough to buy it? Probably not. You should do a meetup with subscribers. Good, bro. Playing AMD and running Caterpillar today. Silver. Semiconductors. Calls on NVIDIA. Buy Bitcoin. Kramer just sold his. Risky. Beat isn't enough for current price. I'm on a couples retreat. Yeah, listen. Great movie. I like the movie. I can't lie. Hewlett Packard. I'll bring the drinks. Is this the Jolts? Jolts drops at 10. Jolts drops in 50 minutes, 55 minutes. So we'll see what Jolts does, but buy Bitcoin? I don't know, dude. Gotta wait for confirmation. Palantir's valuation. I mean, obviously it's still valued pretty high. I mean, you gotta look at like the EPS. PE ratio is high. EPS is low for Palantir, but people are betting that it's gonna grow into it. It's got government contracts and all that stuff, defense, diversified, a lot of different sectors for Palantir. So, but people have been betting that it was gonna grow into it for years. It's up a lot though. It probably is why Burry is shorting this, but the market doesn't purely move on company health, though, and that's, I think, something Burry probably understands, but it's still, I mean, overvalued relative to its EPS and revenue. What's the PE ratio on Palantir right now? I know it's pretty freaking high. Yeah, it's about 138. Forward PE is about 84. Just to put it into perspective, a lot of these memory names have like a 5 to 10 PE ratio right now. Palantir, lower is better. It means closer price to earnings correlation. But again, PE's got a ratio of 140 TTM, trailing 12 month. So Yeah, I mean, it's still overvalued. It's better than it was a year ago, though. You know, it is better than it was a year ago. This thing was at like 3 or 400s PE a year ago, if I remember correctly. It's been some time, but and so I guess you could argue certainly that it's starting to grow into some of these valuations. If you look at like an EPS graph for Palantir here, you know, you can kind of look at some of this to see what they're doing here, but PE ratio is still high. And so a lot of people are going to argue it is starting to grow. You can see that EPS trend. EPS are margins, basically. So, you know, it has had a good EPS trend here for Palantir. We'll see if it continues growing into this, you know, the valuation it's at now. We'll see if it continues growing. I mean, the trend looks good. Growth is good. But yeah, still some question marks regarding, do you guys like buying Palantir? Let me know. It's a meme stock. Tesla had a PE like that for decades, so it's possible it stays high. Yeah, I don't think Tesla's PE is still, I still think it's bad. No? Yeah, I still think the Tesla PE ratio is not good. I usually reference the TTM, which is 140 right now for Palantir, roughly. Forward PE is different. It's more about guidance, but if I was already long, I'm looking to take profits today, leave a few runners. What's up, Charlie? Would you quit vaping for 10K? I'm trying to quit, man. I'll probably quit when I get back home. Again, we got people here that are smoking with us, so like, look at Palantir start to move up, by the way. But you know, I quit for 10 years, and then I went to a concert not that long ago and got it, you know, started up again. I was gonna quit before the beach, but again, we got people here that are smoking. It would be really hard for me to quit around the people here that were smoking, and so I'll quit when I get back home. It's not usually hard for me to quit, not too hard at least, but I don't want to quit twice in a 2-month period. I don't want to quit and then come here and then end up doing it again and then go back home and quit again. I'd rather just quit once. Maybe I'm justifying it in my head, but I'm trying. I'm trying. Hey, nice ante. Yeah, look at gold. I mean, gold's been moving up. It did pull back some though recently. So gold's gonna react really well to lower oil prices. Again, it has to do with bonds. When yields pay out, non-yielding asset, it has to do with risk on, risk off sentiment. So like risk on is like equities, gold, crypto. That's usually when yields are the lowest. Okay. All right, baby. Yeah, it has to do when yields are the lowest. More people buy gold, more people buy equities generally, more people buy Bitcoin. When yields are high from higher oil prices, more people buy bonds because yields pay out more. Yeah, I'm having trouble on the base website. I can log in, but if I try to go to lucid.com, nothing shows up here. So I think the website, like the base site, is probably down right now, is what I think. Yeah, quitting cigarettes is the worst, dude. The smell is bad, you know. Excuses, yeah, that's probably. I'm also a vacation vapor. Yeah, it's hard, dude, it's hard. I have Palantir 150 lotto calls. Hey, good luck, Jan, or Yan. Gold ranging. Yeah, I mean, gold, big range, though. You know, short term, this is the range here for gold. So, gold's got a big range. We got 15 minutes into the opening bell. We'll see what we get, but... Is y'all's Lucid site down? Can y'all log into Lucid right now? Mine seems to be down. Yeah, what's up, Gump? Where's oil? Again, market on open data drops in about 10 minutes. Oil is down, though. Again, Treasury Secretary Bessent said earlier he thinks we'll have a deal between today and tomorrow on reopening of the Strait with freedom of movement, which I think he means no tolls. And so we'll see if we actually get that, though. But oil has fallen down pretty significantly on this. CL futures still trending close to the lows of the day at 76.50s. Lucid's given an error message. Yeah. Yeah, mine's not loading the site on the site, which is weird. Yeah, mine's kind of I don't know. My Lucid account's down as well. I made a huge mistake playing puts the last few days. Yeah, you did, bro. It's a low bar, better happen. Take profit, giving me error messages. Weird. Oil's at 77.5, though. I'm watching oil a lot today, but at the opening bell, I'm watching AMD for some maybe rotation in and out of it ahead of earnings. I'm watching Palantir. I'm watching Caterpillar. I'm gonna watch Amazon, which hit a 3 million market cap recently. GameStop had an offering, and they're still under 20. Apple's been pulling back a little bit this morning, but not a lot. Yeah, we got about 10 minutes into the market on open data. Nasdaq's getting close to highs of the day, though. It's over 29K again, which is a really optimistic look at it. I mean, we were at, what, 27s for a little while. So, also quit all alcohol 2 years ago. Yeah, I mean, alcohol's tough, too. Here comes a rip by shorts not making it to the open. All right, we did a poll earlier. 60% basically says yes, Michael Burry was wrong. 40% say no. We got almost 1,000 votes here. Will markets go bullish or bearish after the open? Is going to be the question. Will markets go bull or bear after the open? Let me know. There's the poll. Will Palantir drop? I mean, Palantir's up a lot from earnings yesterday. It could fall, fill some of this gap. I mean, that's reasonable to speculate on, I think. Bearish then bullish. I mean, I might buy a green or a red to green move if we get it, but honestly, we made a lot the last few weeks. We did not make money yesterday. We lost money. We're down a little bit on the day as well today. So last 2 days have not been as easy to make money in as we saw from some of this big chip. I mean, it was pretty easy to short when chips were breaking down. MU just broke over that high of the day, though. New high is 873.20s. But it was really easy to short when memory chips were breaking down, MU breaking down, SK Hynix breaking down. That dragged the whole market down. NVIDIA was falling with it as well. Now that NVIDIA's back up some, we're getting a little bit more optimism. Oil is down. Optimism about a deal getting done. I don't know. I want to say I'm bullish, but I think we've also had some big gains in tech. The only question mark, I think, is what does AMD do after the bell? We could see rotation into that. We could also see choppiness, though. Is it me, or does this seem like a coincidence that Clarity might pass as the straight opened? It's probably not passing right now, dude. I mean, I don't think Clarity is necessarily going to pass. No? I mean, what do you guys think? Does Clarity pass this year? Polymarket gives it, what, like 27% chance? So, about a little bit over 1/4% likely. Or a little bit over 1/4 likely. So, I don't know, man. Amazon and Microsoft almost made 30%. That is crazy. Yeah, dude. Amazon AWS is what like killed it. Like AWS growth. is really what did it. So does clarity pass, guys? What do you guys think? Yes or no? Let me know. Are you bullish or bearish after market opens? I'm not sure today, dude. I really have no idea. It's the Clarity Act. It's the crypto regulation bill. Bear? Yeah. Almost 70% bulls since the open, though. We'll see if that holds. Nope, doesn't pass. Yes. Let the chart show us. Hey, bro. You can't watch TV out here. Huh?
Why?
Because I'm streaming.
Watch TV in your roommate.
Alright, dude. Love you, buddy. They went to go get coffee. Yeah. No way for clarity. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to pass this year, but it could. It'll be good for Bitcoin if it does. Again, ING says Bitcoin's long-term downtrend remains intact despite a modest rebound from recent lows. They see strong resistance at 65,670 and 69,900s and doubt Bitcoin can break above that range sustainably. They want to drop below 54 support level would trigger another long-term sell signal and reinforce the prevailing bearish trend. NVIDIA says AI leaders propose secure guidelines for cybersecurity openness. So NVIDIA, Cisco, and CrowdStrike are drafting safe AI guidelines. All right, guys, here we go. Market on open data releases in 4 minutes. Yeah, MU just broke highs of the day again here. Here's gold. Gold is moving a lot. It's at 41.30s, but man, the range is huge right now for gold. The VWAP has been propping it up all morning. You can see this purple line right here in gold. The VWAP has been basically propping it up all morning. You can see it bounced here, it bounced here, it held here, broke over it here, and then basically held it multiple times at the volume weighted average price. I'm still looking at this range though right here. So market on open data in 2 minutes here as well. NASDAQ jumping up. Is this news? Hold on. It could be the AI bill. Is NVIDIA going up with it? A little bit. MU and this. Oil dumping down. So this actually looks geopolitically related here. Let's see what it is. NASDAQ did just pop up to 29,280s here ahead of the opening bell. It looks geopolitically related based off of oil movement here. Forward sales. No, that's not it. An announcement is expected regarding the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, according to Al Arabia. That's what's just dropping here. So, and again, an announcement is expected regarding the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, according to Al Arabia. Here's the news right here. This is what it is right here, guys. We'll put this up on screen. But that is what this is. An announcement regarding the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz is expected, according to Al Arabia. NASDAQ is up. Oil is still falling down some here. I'm assuming, at least. Yeah, oil getting close to lows of the day ahead of this. But yeah. Again, Al Arabia reporting an announcement is expected soon regarding the reopening of the strait. So maybe what Besson said is right. Again, a high-ranking source told Al Arabia an announcement is expected regarding the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. That's all we got. But it says communications are underway at full tilt and progress has been made regarding the Strait of Hormuz. So that is tanking oil here. Oil just cracked lows of the day. We got the market on open data in about a minute. But the NASDAQ is up a lot on this news. Not a lot, but up some on this news. Oil just cracked lows down to 76.5s here for oil prices. Yeah, they didn't give any specifics about the source here, though. But here is the market on open data in less than a minute. All right, here's the market on open data in 30 seconds. And again, if you want the cheapest accounts in the game, check out Apex. You can get $15 accounts right now. If you buy a 5-pack bundle, it's like 75 bucks. You can get a 100K no activation fee account for $59. Check out the link right here. Great way to help support the channel. Here's the market on open data. You can also find them in the description, but let's see if the market on open data moves things. It drops in 3, 2, 1, and here it is right here. See what the NASDAQ's doing. Here's the market on open data. We'll see if it swings anything. Palantir's still pulling back a little bit, though, to be honest. MU still at 870s here. But oil still cracking lows as we got news from Al Arabia that a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz should be coming soon. All right, oil broke lows again, got down to 76.40 on this news report. 76.40 here. Great way to move markets with these stories. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of insider trading going on, to be honest here. Especially when there's no, like, we don't know who the source is. I mean, I hope it's true, and markets are buying it. Oil down a lot. Broke lows of the day. NASDAQ not really reacting, but oil is. Testing lows again at 76.30s. Yeah, we got the Jolts report at 10 a.m. All right, guys, 3 minutes into the opening bell. Is Lucid still down for you guys? Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Again, we are down on oil here, 76.40s. We got about 2.5 minutes. What do you think about Amazon? It just broke 3 trillion in market cap, but it's down on the day here. So I'll watch Amazon at the open. MU still fading back down here some as well. Interesting open right now, though, based off of all the news about a deal with Iran and the reopening of the Strait here. MU right at the 200 EMA. But the NASDAQ is now falling down some with 2 minutes left ahead of the opening bell here. So we're still dipping some ahead of the open. Also, join our Discord. It's completely free. We post a morning market brief every single morning. So if you want to check it out, great way to help support the channel. Here's the Discord link. Again, we post a breakdown of everything going on in markets. So like if you want news earlier than the stream, join the Discord. It's completely free. You can hang out with us and chat. There's the link right there. He was looking like a bull flag. Yeah, I mean, oil being down should benefit markets. But what's weird is like, okay, look at oil. Oil just broke lows again, got down to 76.20. The NASDAQ is actually going down some here, though. And this is mostly memory related, I think. MU pulling back some. SanDisk pulling back some. They're still very green on the day. Look at NVIDIA, though, jump. Bank of America pullback is a buying opportunity or MU pullback is a buying opportunity according to Bank of America. Again, Hormuz Strait to fully reopen within hours or tomorrow. Al Hadath, citing a high-level source, says the announcement of arrangements for the full reopening of the Strait of Hormuz may be within hours or tomorrow, apparently. So, more Strait of Hormuz news. We got 40 seconds left here for the opening bell, guys. Let's see what we get. Nasdaq still dipping down. Oil still dropping on this news. Hey, later, Sam. Have a great day, bro. Sell or buy? I don't know. Depends on what we're talking about. $76.40s for oil. Here's the opening bell at 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. There's the opening bell. Let's look at MU here. MU dropping originally at the opening bell, but it's too early to tell which way we're going to go. But there's the open. Here's Palantir. Palantir starting to head up to 147s here. Google moving up at the opening bell as well. Microsoft. Look at Microsoft run here at 486s right now for Microsoft. Is this software related? Software is bouncing back some. Adobe, IBM. NVIDIA is still consolidating since the open, but it's run up a lot. Again, here's gold. Gold's getting back to the top of the range here. Here's Apple. Apple's also moving up at the opening bell. MU starting to head towards highs of the day. Oil's still breaking down too. Oil's at $76 a barrel right now. See if oil keeps falling. Buy or sell oil here, guys. What do y'all think? Still fading down today, though. We'll get ready to trade. But look at the NASDAQ since the open. It's too early for me to trade, but let's watch what the NASDAQ does. 30K, I mean, we're a long way away, but NASDAQ buy. Are you bullish or bearish on Palantir? I don't know. Buy oil. They backstopped the market during war. Yeah, the Lucid site's still down. We're at 330s right now on the NASDAQ, though. Look at this run up. Very green. Oil bouncing a little bit here, too, though. Yeah, gold's flying. I don't know. Gold's actually kind of stagnating here. Short NASDAQ, entry point 29. You're down, bro. Might hold, depends on how long term how long the short is. All right, we do have Jolts report coming live at 10 a.m. today. We'll get a we got 26 minutes. All right, we're up to 350 here on the NASDAQ. Still pushing up here on the NASDAQ, man. This is mostly, I think, memory related, no? Yeah, memory getting back up to highs. software running up a little bit too, but starting to pull back. But this is, look at SanDisk. SanDisk up to almost 1400. So yeah, this is memory related. Yeah, look at this run up in the NASDAQ. Okay, Hynix broke highs of the day. SpaceX also running up to almost 120s ahead of its earnings today. We're up to 373s here. I'm tempted to short, but honestly, it's risky. MU running up 875s. SanDisk up big. Palantir up as well, almost the 150s. I gotta wait some. I mean, I can trade right now, but this is too steep of a run up first. Yeah, SanDisk 1400s. Seller buy the NASDAQ 100. I really don't know, man. There's too many things going on. We got Jolts in 25 minutes. We got AMD earnings this afternoon. We got SpaceX earnings this afternoon. I'm not sure. Palantir got up to almost 150. I gotta wait for a trade here. I can't really trade this now. Still climbing up. Yeah, I'm waiting right now. I'm not trading. What's your trade plan right now, chat? What are you guys doing? Big pump. Look at the NASDAQ climbing up almost to 29,400s here. I think we should watch 29.4s and 5s just for big psychological levels. NASDAQ still climbing, got up to over 400s now. Again, Brent crude under 80 for the first time since mid-July after we got news that we might have an imminent deal with Iran being announced and reopening of the Strait of Hormuz within hours. Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says efforts are underway to resume negotiations between Iran and the U.S. according to IRNA data. But again, according to Al Hadath, citing a high-level source, the announcement of arrangements for the full reopening of the Strait of Hormuz may be within hours or tomorrow. NASDAQ still climbing here. No red candles since the opening bell for the NASDAQ here. We have not gone red at all since the opening bell. Yeah, my hands are off. This is too steep to buy, and it's too extended, and it's too strong to short. So my hands are off. Maybe I'll look for a pullback to 350. Maybe 350. We're at 413s right now at the highs in the NASDAQ. We haven't had a red candle yet, but if this candle continues, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so this is going to be the first red candle we've gotten since the opening bell on the NASDAQ. I might buy 350s though. It's a big first move, but I need it down to 350s if I'm going to buy it here. That's a big if. Yeah, Jolts drops at 23 minutes though. We'll see if we get anything here for Jolts. We got to pull back to 360s. I don't know if it's enough for me to buy it yet. I mean, momentum-wise, we might continue higher, but it's just not good enough for me yet. Hey, nice pop and drops. Congrats, dude. NVIDIA dump. So the Strait isn't opening today. We don't know, Robert. We got news earlier from Al Hadath and Al Arabia that said a potential deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could be coming within hours or tomorrow. All right, so maybe I should have bought 360s right around that short-term moving average, but again, we're too steep. I don't know if there's enough meat on the move. Maybe there was. But I'm sitting tight right now waiting here. Again, Jolts comes out in 20 minutes basically. All right, here's another pullback. Again, maybe I'll look at 350s. But we did reject at that high again. MU starting to turn though is the problem. It's still at the VWAP, but MU is turned down. Nvidia is starting to fall down some. I'm still gonna look at 350s here. There we go. There's 350s. There's a bounce. I have to add more to this, I think. It's going to depend on MU whether it can hold at the VWAP at 200 EMA. It might not, though. I'm going to cut some of this, actually. MU's still breaking down here. I don't want to get stuck in a chip pullback here, so we'll add to it if it goes in my favor. Maybe I should have held, but risk management. There we go. There's MU starting to fight its way back up. We'll add a little bit more in here. Take 4 contracts. See if we get a pop. There we go. Take some of this off. There we go. Take some more off. Yes, sir. Take some more off. 350s, guys. I'm going to get out the rest right there at the top of the range. 350s held. MU bounced at the VWAP. So. Microsoft doing really well. All right, so we got the 350 trade that worked. Now we got to wait for some more price action here, I think. We got 20 minutes until Jolts. Ooh, you guys red or green? I still think I'm red on the day right now. But the NASDAQ has been popping back up. Memory's a little volatile, though, here. Here's MU. The reason I bought there 350s, number one, psychological level, but number two, Nvidia or MU hit the VWAP at the 200 exponential, so I assume we would bounce some, but I wanted to get out because if we start rejecting here and coming back lower, obviously that could be bad for chips, and that drags markets down. The market's been moving based off of chip news. So. Oil's still down towards the lows at 76, though. It hasn't really broken underneath it, though. Nvidia at 211s. Get the NASDAQ climb here. Red, green, good call, nailed it. Microsoft, deep green, stupid green on my mining stocks. Silver. Yeah, NASDAQ still climbing up to 430s here. Next level I'm looking at really is like 500 if we can get that high. This 500 level on the NQ seems relevant. But that's a long way up there. It depends on what memory names do. MU just broke highs again here. Again, Oman and Iran are expected to make an announcement regarding the Strait of Hormuz within hours, according to Al Arabia. NASDAQ still climbing here. MU just jumped here, though. Look at MU. This is memory related. Look at MU, 883s right now. Assuming SanDisk is getting up there too. Yeah. SK Hynix getting up there. SpaceX went up to 122s before falling back down, but a lot of this is chip related. Look at MU, 884s. Big jump. $886s for MU now. I'm gonna buy my family a drum set, you know, just kind of add to, you know, the vibe of the sound in here, you know. Drum set, maybe like some cymbals, maybe a cowbell. No, hey, cut it out. Thank you for that drum. Yeah, very green so far today. Yeah, look at MU, guys. MU memory names pulling markets up right now. 885s for MU. Yeah, just be careful. We might have some news dropping today about a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Oil's already reacted to it, though. Here's oil. So oil's still down pretty deep on the day on this. 76.40s. Yeah, more cowbell for sure. Some of you guys got the joke. Nvidia buy the dip. Too late now. Waiting for the next dip. This is like shooting fish in a barrel. Yeah, Nvidia is kind of, look at the symmetrical triangle forming on Nvidia here. I mean, maybe like look. So we'll watch this, but MU heading up there, 884s. Is it going to be a sell the news type of news where they announce it? I'm green since the open here, but the Nasdaq's starting to dip a little bit. Let's see if it holds. It's not a small dip either. People might be rotating into AMD and stuff like that, or expecting good earnings from AMD. Back to the highs here at 450s for the Nasdaq. And hopefully you guys see that, like, we move a lot in whole dollar numbers, half and whole dollar numbers, like 450, 400s. So you can see like top and bottoms, 350s is what we bought earlier, right? These are all half dollar numbers, or half numbers, like 350, 400, whole dollars. Now we're at 450s. We'll see if we get over that now, though. Nasdaq still getting up there at 456. Marvell. Yeah, Marvell at 220s. Nvidia's still up to 212s at highs. Starting to edge higher here, though. MU still testing highs, got up to 887s right now. AMD better crush earnings. Yeah, I see Marvell. Okay, we do have Jolts in 13 minutes, guys. I'm going to short a little bit of this here. It's risky. But I'm going to take 3 contracts small. There we go. I'm going to start to get out of this some on this bounce. We might continue down here, but well, I'd rather add to winners here. Jolts in 12 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna cut this now. Too risky. We might short again. 880 seems to be a support level for MU, but if we crack that, markets might get nervous. Kind of moving more sideways, and MU looks like it's breaking down, so I jumped in another short here. We'll see if this works. Definitely risk to short the momentum here, but MU seems like it's still falling some. Yeah, whatever just happened. Oh man, I accidentally went long. We made money on that, but Nasdaq just ripped over highs. Oil's still getting close to lows here, though. Look. No, I'm not buying this True Social API. The reason I'm not buying it is because even if they sell it to some people for 100K or whatever it is, like, we're still going to get that data immediately from other sources. Like, people that have it are going to report it. And so I don't think it's worth paying for unless you're just looking for a write-off. I don't think Jolts will affect markets that much. It might not, honestly. We'll see, but it might not. Nasdaq up to 500s here as well. Still ripping. Just tap 500s, testing it again here, look. Jolts in 8 minutes. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going to post the data. I don't think it's not worth it for somebody like me to get it. We're at 29,500s now. Eight minutes left. I'm not home right now. Again, I'm going to show you guys my view. You know, that is my view right now. So, yeah. All right, 500 acting as a resistance level in the NQ. All right, Jolt's going live in 7 minutes. Let's see if we get over 29,500s here. 7 minutes. I don't know how much Jolts will impact the market. It is June data, but yeah, it is June data, so I don't know how much it's going to affect things. The Nasdaq 100 rose more than 2% since the open, or it's today, which is the highest it's risen since July 15th. But very strong so far here. But if the Jolts report mirrors the NFP report, it might show up weak. And maybe the market will want that because it'll mean lower yields. especially with oil down on the day. But again, be careful. We got 6 minutes left. S&P reaches new all-time high. So here's the S&P. 76.57s now. So S&P just broke all-time highs, guys. 76.57s here. Yeah, it's Lake Michigan. Yeah. S&P over all-time highs here, guys. Look at it. 76.5s. Or 70, yeah, 76.57. NASDAQ up to 29,500. Still struggling to break it, though, but a very strong open right now. Who is that standing behind the tree in the corner? That's Bob. Maybe it's Steve right now. This is scary. I mean, it's just markets. Markets go up and down. All right, guys, 4 minutes. All right, it's time to be serious here, guys. Jolts. We gotta put the backwards hat on, I think. NASDAQ at 29,480s. I mean, the market's been moving on chips, and chips have been moving up and down a lot, and so that's part of the reason the volatility is here. If you look at MU today, NASDAQ's starting to dip down, though. MU's up, but starting to pull back some here. NVIDIA pulling back some here. SanDisk, still up there, but pulling back some nonetheless. But look at MU dip, look at NVIDIA dip. So this is probably dragging the NASDAQ down some here. All right, Jolts data in 4 minutes. It's expected today, guys, for Jolts at 7.44 million. Last time was 7.59 million. We'll see what the quits data shows as well, but the Jolts report does release in about 3.5 minutes. We're at 430s on the NASDAQ here. Or 34s. Yeah, NASDAQ dipping down some. All right, we did buy the dip just now in this. I think I want to hold this a little bit longer, but there we go. All right, we'll take half off there. If this rebound continues here. If it turns the other way, though, we could get big, fast breakdowns. I'll give it a second. A lot of this is NVIDIA related, though. MU did bounce at the VWAP. We got to get out within 2 minutes. So NVIDIA is what's really breaking down here, though. I'm going to get out of some of this here just to protect. The Jolts report goes live in 2 minutes. I don't want to sit on anything while this goes live. There we go. Now we're going to start to cut this. We already made a bunch from it. I'm going to get out here. All right, guys, 2 minutes. Less than that, really. John, you got a big head? Again, there's a correlation between smarts and head size. So I do have a huge head. I'm sorry. I got a big brain, you know. We got more compute capacity in here. All right, guys, we got a minute and a half left. Yeah, gold. Look at gold. Again, this is probably from lower oil. Gold's trying, but it did pull back from 41.5s. Or small hat. All right, guys, here we go. MU bouncing right at that level. Look at this level here. 870s. All right, guys, Jolts report less than a minute here, guys. Less than a minute. All right, guys, 40 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. We'll see what we get today, but 40 seconds. All right, guys, 15 seconds. Well, no, mine says that as well, Christian. I think that's everybody, bro. All right, let's look at the NASDAQ here. Here's the report in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the report. All right, guys, so factory order showed up at 0.3 negative, 7.359 million for Jolts. So Jolts showed up weaker than expected at 7.359 million versus 7.44 million expected. So Jolts did show up weaker than expected. I'm looking for quits data here, but Jolts did show up weaker than expected. I'll put this data up on screen. There's the data right there for Jolts. We'll put it up on screen, but Jolts did show up weaker than expected here.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, buddy, not right now.
Sorry.
But yeah, we did show up weaker than expected. We're at 7.39 or 7.359 million versus 7.45 million expected. So weaker Jolts than expected. The NASDAQ is falling down a little bit. Again, factory orders showed up at negative 0.3. No, versus 0.2 expected. So factory orders did show up negative here as well. Yeah, so the Jolts data is out. This is by the BLS. We can look at this actual Jolts report. And here it is right here. I want to see where quits are. But again, Jolts did show up weaker than expected for June at 7.359 versus about 7.4 million expected for openings. All right, so separations. They said the number of job openings for May was revised down by 57,000 to 7.5 million. Hires was revised up by 82,000 to 5.3 million. But in separations, quits came in at 3.2 million and 2%. So they decreased in federal government at negative 4,000. The number and rate of layoffs and discharge were unchanged, 1.8 million. But kind of a flat report here. I mean, we basically showed up lower than expected. Quits was basically down somewhat. But
Daddy,
it was weaker than expected data.
like, come on, sir.
No. No. All right, buddy. Fed doesn't care about jobs anymore. Yeah, I mean, NASDAQ is honestly getting back up to highs on these numbers here. So Jolts did weaken a little bit, but nothing crazy. We also had revisions as well, though. So the revised numbers last time went down to 7.53 million for Jolts last time. So a little bit weaker jobs data. This should push yields slightly down, or I mean slightly up. Or no, slightly down, sorry. And yields are down a little bit. The yields are probably more so reacting to oil today. But, yeah, yields are down some. Mostly from oil, though. I mean, here's 2-year Treasury yields after this report. And again, quits level at 3.23 million. They expected about 3.08. So we did have higher quits, weaker Jolts, higher quits. Quit rate was at 2%. They expected 1.9%. And the job opening rate, 4.4%. Roughly, they expected that. So quits did show up a little bit higher than expected. Jobs were a little bit weaker than expected in the Jolts report. But nothing really that's moving markets. NASDAQ still climbing pretty freaking heavily here. into all of this. NASDAQ is still at the highs of the day right now, though. Look at it. So maybe we could trade this. We're basically flat. We're down slightly on the day here. But Nvidia is looking a little weaker here. I'm tempted to short this though, but I think it's a risky time to short. Is that the POC data? Yeah, the POC is still, wait, let me see. Yeah, the POC is still right here at 450s. We got some high volume nodes right here. I don't know if I mean, I'm tempted to short back into the range here. It depends on what Nvidia does though. MU is still okay. I guess I'll short. I don't feel good about it though, but maybe that means I shouldn't have taken it, but I'll short here at the highs. Imagine your son runs in. It says, man, did you see Micron rip off that report? Oh, dude, I would love to see it. I'd be the proudest dad ever if my son ran in here talking about Micron. Proudest dad ever. I mean, he would never do it, but I would love to see it. One day I'll teach him about all this stuff. He's not quite old enough to care too much about it. But yeah. Yeah, jobs were basically flat. Well, now we're down. I didn't feel good about the short. Maybe I shouldn't have taken it. I'm still waiting here, though. I'm going to let this roll a little bit and see. I want to see if we liquidity grab up here and push down. NVIDIA's not moving up as much. Actually, it kind of is now. There could be some rotation heading into AMD earnings today. We also have SpaceX earnings also, but we could be rotating heading into that. Maybe people are getting more bullish ahead of that, especially with the news about the Strait. But we do have Google pushing up some right now. MU's still doing all right, but things are kind of slowing down some here. I mean, I think AMD's going to do well. I'm gonna have to cut this probably and just, I mean, I'm gonna wait, but problem is I see Nvidia bouncing back, but let's see if it holds. I also see MU starting to bounce back. I'll wait. NASDAQ at 530s here. What's that? Yeah, Nvidia getting back up there. Nvidia at 212s again, or 210s, I mean. NASDAQ still not really stopping here. I'm never shorting again. Hey, be careful, bro. I'll definitely short again. We'll live to short another day here, I think. NASDAQ's still climbing here, though. Again, it depends on chips, though. Chips are heading up. MU's still at 880s. Nasdaq just got up there to 532s here, still climbing. Nvidia dipping down some, and so is MU now. We're kind of going sideways here. All right, we're short again. I'm being stubborn with it because I think we're going to pull back some now. Here's the trade. All right, so we're up in this. We got a little room. I'll let it go break even again. There we go. Let's see if we take a little bit off here. Better. We'll take a little bit more off there. Give it a second now. Yeah, Nvidia's fallen down to 210s. Rejected at the VWAP. And again, if you haven't already, check out Apex. Again, they got the cheapest accounts in the game with $15 accounts on Apex right now. If you want to learn to day trade, again, and you fund your own account, you're probably going to lose thousands. Most day traders lose money. Shameless plug, by the way. But a great way to learn is just get some cheap accounts in prop firms. You have some pressure, but you don't have full extent of funding thousands into an account as a new day trader. And I think that's why prop firms are incredibly useful. People can hate on them, but like most day traders lose. This is objectively true, regardless of what your mentor says. Most day traders are going to lose. And so if you want the cheapest accounts, check out Apex. You want the best rules, I would check out Lucid. But Take Profit's great with rules as well. Lucid Flex has the best rules in the game. But you can check out that link right there. Great way to help support the channel. I'm still short here. Lucid link is also in the description if you haven't checked it out yet. Although the Lucid site, is it still down? It says my estimated wait time is 2 minutes. I'm going to get out of here. I don't want to get in a high break. We made money on the trade, but we're out of this last one. Small day. Yeah, the daily accounts are great. I like the flex accounts better than all of them, though, just because the rules once you're funded are better. But you're my mentor? Yeah, I mean, I'm the most non-mentory mentor ever. Nasdaq still at highs here. Do we get a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz today, guys? That's what the question is. Or tomorrow. Here's oil. Oil still testing lows, 75.77, the low of the day for WTI crude. We're at 75.90s here. So we're still pretty close to that. Getting close to that now, even more close. Third best mentor, definitely third best. There will be no deal. Yeah, I mean, oil's still falling down, though. It's close to the lows. I don't know if there's any real good trade here. Take selling. Thanks me later. Hey, good luck, dude. I still think my short would work right here, but it's risky. Yeah, with the boy who called wolf, eventually there was a wolf. That's absolutely true. But you also can't blame people for not trusting it either. So I think we could get a deal. It could hold, maybe not. It's hard to tell. All right, looks like oil's getting close to these lows again. Nasdaq's still climbing up though. Nvidia MU are basically flat right now. They're not really moving here. Yes.
This table and camera.
No. All right, we just jumped back in another short here. I don't know why I'm being so stubborn with these, but we are. Slightly green. Nvidia just cracked under the 200 EMA. So, there we go. There we go. Take a little bit more off here. Take a little bit more off here. There we go. Take a little bit more off here. And then we'll hold the last little bit here. Flat on the rest. But hopefully we keep falling. Hey, nice LV. Looking at oil. Oil bounced a little bit. I'm gonna double down on this a little bit here, based off of MU and oil, or Nvidia and oil. There we go. Yeah, he said Iran and Oman are making progress in talks regarding what Rubio is saying. So he's kind of saying the opposite right now. I don't see him saying no deal, but he did say Oman and Iran have made progress in talks. Where's oil? Looks like we're gonna push up here though. I'll give it a second. We're basically flat on the day here, but there's a dip. Yep. All right, we'll take that off. Again, Rubio said Iran and Oman are making progress in talks. Yeah, he did say there's nothing final regarding the reopening of the strait, though, but there has been progress made. Very choppy right now, though, heading into AMD earnings later on today. Rubio still speaking? Nope. A little bit of a drop here. Gotta watch oil. Oil's still close to these lows, but we're not really moving here, guys. I don't know if this is good price action. I'm sitting in this short. That's better. Okay. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna add to this short, but it's risky. But we'll add a little bit, see what we get. Could be news. I'm gonna see some red here, but the point of control holding us up a little bit. Crypto fear and greed index is at 25. Regular fear and greed index at 55. So Rubio may be coming out with some honesty regarding the talks. Markets might be pulling back some from this, but still looks heavy. All right, I'm gonna take half off there. If we get a breakdown more here, but it's small. Little size on the rest. SpaceX doesn't release their earnings until 6 tonight. So I'm going to get out the rest flat here and just wait. Watch NVIDIA closely as part of this. And NVIDIA looks weak, but it could bounce back. Oil still pushing towards the lows here. MU bouncing back a little bit up at 870s. There's MU. Very flat day ahead of AMD earnings. I mean, we got another little short here in the books, but we are green on the day, but it's small. A little bit more off there. This short's worked out really well, but very small green day. I'm probably going to cut out of here, guys. Again, if you want to help support the channel, check out Lucid, check out Apex. Take Profit's got some great rules once you're actually funded. We recently got funded on a Take Profit account as well. You can use code BGT at checkout and get all the max discounts. If you want to check out Lucid, we'll put that link up here one more time. And again, it's a good way to help support the channel. Lucid's Flex is my favorite plan out of all of them. But they all have good stuff depending on what you're looking at. If you want cheap accounts, look at Apex. You want good rules, check out Lucid Flex once you're funded. You want free payout rules, check out Take Profit. You want like options, check out Tradeify. Direct to funded on Tradeify is great. You can go direct to funded on Tradeify and immediately get funded without even passing an eval. So they all have different good rules. You can also do that on Lucid. But I'm going to see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. I'll see you guys probably later, but maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow we have ADP's data going live at 8:15. It's the monthly jobs report. And really for ADP tomorrow, you know, it is July data. So it's the first look at July jobs tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. So just be ready for that. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day.